A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. For 3 months, you've been tracking a pair of hold-up men. There's no pattern to their operation. They're young. They're brutal. Your job, stop them.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, March 3rd. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Harry Didion, captain of robbery. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the neighborhood bakery shop, and it was 8:45 a.m. when I got to Collis Avenue. Number 4656.
Joe?
Yeah.
What happened? Wasn't the bakery open?
Oh, yeah, it was open. I got the stuff right here.
Oh. They have any ration bread?
Yeah, right here.
How about the butter horn?
No, they don't make those on Sundays anymore. I got bear claws instead.
Okay, well, let's get this stuff open.
Okay.
All right.
Here we are.
Mm-hmm. Where do you keep your eggs?
In the refrigerator, right over there.
Uh-huh.
Find them?
Yeah, I got 'em. You know, Joe, I don't like to say anything, but I can't keep coming over here to your place every morning.
Well, it was your idea. Nobody asked you.
Yeah, but I know how you are. You don't know how to cook a decent breakfast for yourself.
Is the coffee ready yet?
No, it's not perking yet. Hey, you sure there's nothing wrong with this pot? It's been on for 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, you forgot to plug it in.
Oh, uh-huh. Now, let's see.
Well, what do you want?
Well, better put the toast on.
You always make the toast before you cook the eggs?
Yeah.
You remember yesterday the toast was pretty cold.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I better hold off for a minute.
Yeah.
Scrambled eggs okay?
Well, we had them yesterday.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Is that the only way you know how to fix them?
I know what you'd like. One of my Spanish omelets. When'd you say your mother was coming back?
Well, in about 3 more days.
Yeah, that'll make a week, won't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I guess I can work something out with Amy. Wife doesn't like me coming over here every morning like this.
Well, I told you before, I can make out all right here.
Oh, I know how it is. You think you're imposing. You'd be lost without your can opener.
Say, is this omelet of yours going to take very long? We haven't got very much time, you know.
I'll have it on your plate in a jiffy. What time are we supposed to see those victims?
9:30 at the county hospital.
Where's your tomatoes?
In the refrigerator.
Oh, uh-huh.
23 jobs in 3 months. Those guys really move, don't they?
Yeah. Nice tomatoes, Joe.
That Hollenbeck job last night. Vicious punks.
Yeah, there's no reason to work the old man over the way they did. What'd the doctor say?
Well, he's going to get over it all right, but they kicked out all of his front teeth. He's 50 years old.
Same M.O. Every job.
Aren't you going to peel those?
No, skins are good for you. Now, you got a nice big Bermuda? Bermuda onion.
Oh, yeah. I'll get you one.
Kids. 19, 20-year-old stick-up artists. Knock a man's senses for $50. Robbing, slugging, kicking their way around the city.
Yeah.
This'll be one bunch I'll be glad to catch up with.
Here's your onion.
Good.
Well, now, wait a minute. You're going to peel that, aren't you?
And lose half the flavor?
I don't know. I always peel them.
I see now. There now. Now, mix the whole works together.
You going to put it in that pan on the stove there?
Yes, sir.
Looks pretty hot, doesn't it? It's smoking.
Joe, that's the way you cook a Spanish omelet. Hot, fire, and fast. Now, into the pan. The whole trick in making a good Spanish omelet is you got to work fast.
What are all those little brown flakes on the top there? Oh, the onion skins. No, I don't know. That doesn't look right to me.
Wait till you taste it.
I'll get it. Friday talking.
Elton Young, Joe. Romero there with you?
Yeah, he's here.
You two are supposed to see those robbery victims at the county hospital this morning, aren't you?
Yeah, at 9:30.
Well, cancel that out. Gonzalez and Powers are covering on that.
Yeah, how come?
Just got the call. South Grand and Colonial 211 on slugging. Same description. Looks like the kid bandits.
All right, we'll get right on it.
It's a newsstand near the corner.
Right. Bye.
Look at that, Joe. I just took it out of the pan.
Yeah.
Best Spanish omelet I ever made.
That's too bad. We're not going to have time to eat it. 8:55 a.m. We left the house and drove to the scene of the holdup, one door from the corner of South Grand and Colonial Avenue. The victims were Mr. and Mrs. John Wilden, proprietors of a small newspaper and soft drink stand just off the intersection. Mrs. Wilden was being carried to a waiting ambulance when we got there. She was unconscious. From her forehead to her chin, her face was a swollen mass of welts. Her nose had been broken, and she had fractures of the jaw and cheekbone. Her husband, John Wilden, age 56, had a single bruise on his forehead over his left eye. We questioned him after the ambulance attendants gave him first aid. His description of the hold-up men tallied almost perfectly.
One was a redhead, other one had dark hair, both about the same height. I'd say they're as tall as you are, officer.
Matches, Joe. Kid bandit.
Yeah. Had you ever seen either one of these men before, Mr. Wilden, around the neighborhood, maybe?
No, never did. I don't know why they picked on Madeline and me for a hold-up. We'd never been robbed before. We just got this little hole in the wall here. Don't see how it could look worthwhile to any crook.
You usually open up this early on Sunday morning?
Oh, yeah, Sunday's one of our big days. You see, we handle all the Sunday papers. You get our big trade from the people going to church up the street there, St. Joseph's.
Yes, sir, I see.
After the church lets out, most of the people head down this way and pick up the Sunday papers. We sell about 15, 20 papers after every Mass. It's a nice little business, you know. We close up after 12:15.
Well, when did the holdup take place? Can you remember that, sir?
Well, I'd say 8:30, a few minutes after. I went down to the Athens Cafe down the street there. I wanted to get some change. I left Madeline here to handle the counter. Madeline, that's my wife.
Yes, sir.
And when I got back, she wasn't behind the counter. I took a look behind here and saw our cash box laying on the cement there, empty, and I didn't know what to think.
Mm-hmm. What'd you do then?
Well, I pushed through this door here. It's a little dinky storeroom just back at the counter. It's where we keep our supplies, candy and soda water.
Right. You mind if we take a look, sir?
No. Come right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when I came in, first thing I saw was Madeline. That's my wife. And she was lying there on the boards moaning, had her hands over her face. The two young fellows were standing over her, and both had guns.
Mm-hmm. What did they do when they saw you?
And they grabbed me and asked for money. I told them I didn't have any. I began to holler for help. One of them slugged me with his gun, and then they ran out. Still a little shaky. You mind if I sit down?
Go ahead, sir. Oh, here. Let me get this box for you.
Thank you.
Say, I wonder if we could get you some water or maybe a cold drink from the cooler.
Oh, no. But you'll find a half pint behind those cases over there. A little brandy I keep put away.
Over here?
Yes, that's right. Behind those cases. I don't usually drink on Sundays. This is an exception, I guess.
Here you are, Mr. Logan.
What's that on the floor there, Ben? No, near your foot there.
I see. The light's not very good. It's a book of matches.
Yeah. Are these yours, Mr. Wilden? These matches?
No, I don't carry them.
Well, your wife's, I guess, huh?
I don't think so. Neither one of them smoke.
What's that ad printed on the back here?
Big Ten Cafe, steaks, chopped short orders, open all night, West Pico. Do you handle cigarettes and cigars here, sir?
No, sir. Candy and soft drinks and newspapers, that's all.
Inside of the matchbook cover, Joe. Some scribbling on it.
George Bell, S. Cameron, 5th and Alameda. Do you recognize this at all, Mr. Wilden?
Big Ten Cafe. No, I've never been there.
Now, how about the names here, inside the cover?
George Bell, S. Cameron. No, I never heard of him.
Well, when you first came in here, Mr. Wilden, do you remember where the hold-up men were standing?
Well, not too well. One was over there, and one was over there, I think.
Could be, Joe. One of them might have dropped it.
Trace them from that matchbook? Do you think that's possible?
I don't know yet.
How would you trace them that way? Analysis? Some kind of scientific work?
No, sir. Legwork. 9:28 a.m. We call latent fingerprints. As soon as they arrived, we dropped Mr. Wilden off at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital to see his wife. Ben and I drove back to the office. We had the crime report typed up and got out a supplementary broadcast on our original APB. We asked Frank Cunningham and R&I to run the names George Bell and S. Cameron through the files for a possible mate. We checked with the restaurant advertised on the cover of the matchbook, the Big Ten Cafe. The manager of the cafe failed to recognize either the names on the matchbook or the descriptions of the hold-up men. 9:52. We checked back in at the office.
I'll get it. Robbery, Romero? Yeah, Frank. Yeah. Good, right. Thank you.
Cunningham?
You got a make on the name George Bell. Another one for Sam Cameron. Both of them run together. Got a long juvenile record.
Good. You got an address on them?
Yeah. Won't be hard to run down.
What do you mean?
Main jail.
5 days before, George Bell, a laborer, and Samuel Cameron, a part-time jewelry salesman, had been booked at the main jail on charges of being drunk and disorderly. The day after his arrest, Cameron was bailed out. Bell was still in the drunk tank. Ben and I went down to the main jail and talked to him. He didn't fit the description of either of the bandits. He was very cooperative, but he stated that he'd been very drunk and he couldn't remember too much.
Just don't know, Sergeant. Sam and I went out and tied one on. When it came to, we were here in the drunk tank.
You have no idea at all how your names got on this matchbook.
I'm trying to think. We're pretty well heated up, Sam and me. That's another thing, that dirty Sam.
What do you mean?
He got a friend of his to come up here and bail him out. Think he'd do anything for me? No. I bought the liquor. He lets me sit here now. Dirty Sam.
You think he might remember about that matchbook?
I don't know. I'm disgusted with him. If you see him, you can tell him that. Just let him know he's off my list.
How about the address here on the matchbook, George? It says 5th and Alameda. Doesn't that mean anything to you? Were you and Cameron hitting some of the spots around that area?
No, we were messing around over in Dogtown. Didn't get down by Alameda at all.
Well, it must have some tie-in for you. 5th and Alameda?
No. Only guy I know down there is Sanchez. Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Just a minute. Sanchez. Gus Sanchez, sure. I wanted to see Gus. I thought he'd put up bail for us.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got it now. I think I have anyway. It was the morning after, and I woke up here in the tank. Oh, a big head, you know. Really whipped.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first thing I thought was out. I figured Gus Sanchez might pop for bail. A friend of mine, you know. Gus works at the bar at 5th and Alameda. That's it.
Well, how's it tie in?
This other mooch is in the tank next to me. Somebody's popped bail for him, and he's getting out in an hour. So I asked him to call Gus for me, and he said he would. He wrote my name down, and he wrote down Sam's, too. That dirty Sam. And he took down Gus's address. Yeah, 5th and Alameda.
You remember what this man looked like when he took your name?
Oh, let's see. No, everything was going around. He's kind of tall, I don't know.
Would you remember him if you saw him again?
Guy did me a favor. I'd remember him. Not like that dirty Sam.
Well, how about his name? Did he tell you that?
No, I didn't ask him. I should have, huh?
You sure about the day this man was released?
Positive. The same day I came in, Tuesday.
Okay, Bell. Thanks very much. We'll be checking back with you.
Yeah, all right. Hey, what about this guy? You got a brief with him?
Well, maybe if he's the one we want.
Yeah, what'd he do?
He lost his matches. Ben and I left the drunk tank and went down the hall to check with the officer in charge. We paged through the release book and found that 7 men had been bailed out or discharged from the jail on the previous Tuesday. We went back to the record bureau and had them pull the mug shots on all 7 men. Then we took the pictures back to the drunk tank and showed them to George Bell.
No. Yeah, this one, I think. Can't be sure. I think that's him.
George Bell had tentatively identified the mug shot of a Fred Gunther, WMA, 21 years old. Gunther had a previous record of grand theft auto, purse snatching, and drunk charges. His picture matched closely with the description of one of the suspects. 4 a.m., we contacted the Kid Bandit's most recent victim, John Wilden, at his home. We asked him to look at the same group of mugshots that we'd shown to George Bell.
Here, he's one of them.
You sure, Mr. Wilden?
He's the one who slugged me. Who is he?
His name's Fred Gunther.
Oh, then you know him. You want me to identify him?
Yes, sir, when we find him.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Now, here's an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
1949. Fatima more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. 1950. Another record-breaking year, with more long cigarette smokers insisting on Fatima quality than ever before.
In 1951, enjoy Fatima quality yourself.
Yes, friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality, even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima quality yourself. Insist on Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, March 4th, 9 a.m. We checked out the suspect, Fred Gunther. No trace of him at any of his previous addresses. We began checking with the other victims of the Kid Bandits. After a day and a half of legwork, we sat down and figured up the results. More than two-thirds of the victims definitely tabbed Gunther as one of the hold-up men. The next step was the record bureau. We had them pull the packages on every one of Gunther's known friends and associates. There were more than 30 of them. We had mugshots pulled on each one of them and made the rounds of the victims for the second time. Approximately half of the victims had singled out one picture as that of Gunther's partner in the holdups. We pulled the package on the man and checked his mama sheet. His name was Harold Reimers, WMA, age 19. Previous record included car stripping and one charge ADW, no conviction. Friday, March 8th. We continued our check of the friends and associates known to the two suspects, Gunther and Reimers. We got nowhere. 2 weeks passed. On March 23rd, we got a tip from an informant about a girlfriend of Fred Gunther's, a vocalist working at a downtown dance hall during intermissions.
Long haul.
Yeah, one more flight.
Climb 4 flights of stairs and then they expect you to dance.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is it. Yeah, come on.
Big enough floor, huh?
Well, it shows a little wear. The place has been here for years.
Look at those walls and that ceiling. Sure could use a fresh coat of paint.
Is her name Stanley? Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
Excuse me?
Hi.
Is your name Lorraine Stanley?
Yeah, that's right. Sweet Lorraine, that's my billing. You with the band?
No, we're police officers. I'd like to talk to you for a minute if we can.
Oh, sure, all right. I was just rehearsing a little. What's it about, officer?
Do you know Fred Gunther, Miss Stanley?
Fred? Yeah, I know him. I used to be engaged to Fred.
You happen to know where he is now?
No, I don't. Guess I haven't heard from him in 3-4 months. Usually looks me up when I'm in town. Maybe he's sore about something, I don't know.
Has he contacted you at all?
Not since I got back from Bakersfield a month ago. I played 32 weeks in Bakersfield, the Ramble Inn. Sure hated to leave, nice place.
Mm-hmm. Where does Gunther stay in town? Do you happen to know that?
Used to be that hotel on South Flower. Called him there, but they said he moved. Used to like Fred a lot. Not enough to marry him, though.
Do you have any idea where he might have gone, where we could contact him?
No, I really don't. Nothing wrong, is there, about Fred, I mean?
No, it's just a routine investigation. We'd like to talk to him.
What's it about? Can you tell me?
It's a robbery investigation. We want to locate Gunther. Do you happen to know any of his friends here in the city?
No. Maybe that's why he didn't call. He's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Robbery? Is that it?
Well, we just like to talk to him, that's all.
Well, if he's done something wrong, I'm not going to hide him. I can't afford to get mixed up in it. I've got a career to think about. I've worked too hard to throw it away.
Well, how about the places Gunther usually visits, Miss Stanley? Bars, restaurants. You know any of those?
No, I remember a few. I can give you the names if you like. Poor Fred. I hope he didn't do it for me.
Ma'am?
Well, Fred says he's in love with me. I don't know. He thinks I want money. Maybe that's why he's doing it. I told him, but he never believed me. All I want is my career.
Well, do you think that Gunther might come around here to see you?
Probably. He usually does when I'm in town.
How about where you're living?
I'm staying at a different hotel this trip. He doesn't know where he is. Poor Fred. He's going to be awfully disappointed.
Hmm? How do you mean?
Oh, he said he was going to get money and buy a ring. He's going to marry me this time. Poor Fred. This is my new theme, officers. Do you like it?
Uh-huh. Just one more thing, Miss Stanley. If Gunther contacts you by phone, will you be sure and let us know?
All right, I'll do that. Sure, beautiful theme, isn't it? Piano player in Bakersfield, he wrote it for me. Beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Fred understands. I don't want to hurt him, but I can't marry him. How do I make him understand? How do I explain it?
I don't think you'll have to, ma'am. Before we left Lorraine Stanley, we told her that if Gunther should contact her, not to tell him that she'd talked with us. Stakeouts were placed on the dance hall where she worked and at the hotel where she was staying. Gunther's known hangouts were also covered. The next night, the Kid Bandits were back in business. They hit twice, a liquor store on Franklin Avenue and a tavern on South Flower. Gunther and Reimers were again identified as the two suspects. The stakeouts continued. The search went on. 4 days later, we got a tip from the proprietor of a shoe shine stand on West Temple that Gunther's partner, Harold Reimers, had been seen entering a small hotel up the street from his stand. We drove over and checked with the desk clerk. He identified Reimers' mugshot. He told us the suspect wasn't in, but that he was expected back that night. Ben and I went on stakeout in his hotel room. 7 p.m. Reimers failed to show.
Getting a little hungry, Joe. You?
Yeah. What time you got now?
20 after 7. Stomach's starting to growl. And what's that, a parade?
Well, I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, it's the Salvation Army Band.
Oh, yeah, Saturday night. Might as well check the office, huh? See if we can't get a relief.
Well.
Would you get me Michigan 5211, please? Michigan 5211. Yeah, we'll pay for it, thanks. Would you close the window, George? A little noise.
Yeah, okay.
Robbery, please. Yeah, Young, this is Romero. How's that? You sure? Okay, thank you. Gunther and Reimers, they pulled a hold-up down South Main.
When?
20 minutes ago. Gunther got away.
Yeah.
They got Reimers.
7:45 p.m. Ben and I got back to the city hall and went to the interrogation room. Together with Young and Carr from robbery, we tried to question the suspect, Harold Reimers. We talked to him for over an hour. He refused to tell us anything. We took him to the main jail where he was booked on 211 PC. 9:15 p.m. We went back to the office.
I'll get it. Robbery, Romero. Just a minute. For you, Joe.
Okay, thanks. Friday talking.
Sergeant, this is Lorraine Stanley.
Yeah, Miss Stanley.
I'm over at work. The dance hall, you remember?
Yes, ma'am. Anything wrong?
Well, Fred just called me, Sergeant. I told the officers here. Fred Gunther?
Yes, ma'am. Where is he? Did he say?
No, all he said was he wanted to see me.
Yeah?
He said he was coming right over.
9:25 p.m. We called the men on stakeout at the dance hall and alerted them. Elton Young, Ben, and I got in the car and drove over. We checked with the detail on stakeout. Gunther hadn't been spotted, but because of the large crowd entering and leaving the dance hall, it was possible that he could have gotten in unnoticed. We talked to the Stanley girl. She hadn't seen or heard anything further from the suspect. Ben and I staked out in her dressing room where Gunther said he'd meet the girl. It was a small converted storeroom that went into the dance floor just behind the bandstand. Lorraine Stanley was on during the intermission. We waited.
What have you got, Joe?
Almost 10:30.
This guy must feel pretty sure of himself. He pulls a robbery, he's almost picked up, and 3 hours later he makes a date to show in a public play.
No, he hasn't shown yet. I'm not too sure about that Stanley girl.
How do you mean?
Well, if she's that big an attraction for him. This is the only way out, huh? Besides that fire escape off the alley.
Yeah, Young's covering the alley.
Come on.
Down here, Joe! He got by me. He's up the alley behind one of those trucks.
He can't go far. It's a dead end.
Stay here, Young, and cut him off.
You all right?
Yeah, he slugged me, knocked me down. I didn't see him in the dark.
Come on, Ben.
Yeah.
Easy, huh?
Sure dark.
Yeah.
Watch it behind that truck! Make room! I'm coming out!
Watch it, Joe! Missed him.
Coming at you, Young!
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! All right, stand still.
You want to stay with him, Young? We'll call in.
Yeah, right. Closest place, that little cafe off the alley to the left.
Thanks. Come on, Ben.
Yeah. I'm here, Jay.
Yeah, I guess they got a phone inside. Come on.
Wait a minute. As soon as we get Gunther downtown, we're going to come right back here.
4-4.
Take a look at that fry cook in the window there.
Yeah, what about him?
That fella makes a Spanish omelet exactly like I did.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 19th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, believe me, this difference is mighty important. So important that you'll always remember the first pack of Fatimas that you buy. Fatima's fast-growing popularity backs me up on that. But look, you can prove it to yourself by getting a pack of Fatimas tomorrow. You'll find that they now cost the same as other long cigarettes. And your first pack will convince you to go right on smoking them. Join me in the new thousands who enjoy Fatima's extra mildness, Fatima's rich, better flavor and aroma. You'll discover what all we Fatima smokers know. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
Fred Gunther and Harold Reimers were tried and convicted on several counts of robbery and assault. They received sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
We the People is next, with stories of today on NBC.
name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon, Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Sunday at 8:30, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Frank Graham as Regan, with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery, suspense, and adventure in tonight's transcribed story titled, There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
It took a heap of threatening notes to make Buddy Huckle afraid, and we had plenty of threatening notes in this one. Individual words cut from poems and pasted on plain white paper to create a message of death. If you enjoy poetry, you hate Huckle, and everyone connected with this case enjoyed poetry. Maybe it has something to do with the dictaphone that wound up telling too much and a leggy blonde that told too little. It was 3 p.m. when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the Detective Bureau. Somehow he looked different.
Jeffrey, my boy.
Then I saw he was wearing a flowing black tie.
Listen to this, Jeffrey.
Where's your cape, Fatso?
Listen. Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all...
Poetry. You, Lion?
Well, just because you have no appreciation of the finer things in life, Jeffrey, doesn't mean that
Whose poetry?
Well, mine, of course.
You, the head of a detective agency, writing poetry?
A man who appreciates the beauty of the universe, the richness of living...
What's in it for you?
What do you mean by that snide remark?
What do you get out of writing this poetry?
I reap calm, peace, my boy.
How much money?
Now look here, Jeffrey.
How much?
$10,000 if I win.
Win what?
Well, our new client told me about the contest, my boy. There's a $10,000 prize for the poem, which, in the opinion of the judges...
I thought. Okay, Lion, who's the new client?
Buddy Huckle, the poet, America's Bard Laureate.
What's Hucklebuck's trouble?
No, Buddy Huckle. It seems someone is trying to intimidate him, keep him from creating more poetry.
Where do I find this bard?
At his office.
Office?
Well, he has to work someplace. Now, you get right down to this address and do what you
can. Did he, pay you?
There was a check for $200. Buddy Huckle is solvent.
Well, for an artist, that's suspicious.
You do a good job, my boy, and the Lion Detective Agency might turn up in his memoirs.
If I expected to find Buddy Huckle writing poetry in a hidden nook, I was in for a surprise. His office was on the Miracle Mile, brand new building, all glass and angles and curves. I checked the address the Lion had given me just to make sure. This was it. I squeezed into the Lucite elevator with salesmen, briefcases, secretaries, and a temperature of 110. Up in his office, there was a small desk and a little man behind it. Maybe 50, with a pink seamless face and short white hair like popcorn glued to a billiard ball.
May I help you, sir?
You're Buddy Huckle?
Just a moment while I staple these poems.
My name's Regan. I'm from the Lion Detective Bureau.
Oh, yes. Mr. Huckle told me you were coming. Won't you sit down? I purchased that chair from the estate of H.W. Longfellow.
Where is Mr. Huckle?
Just a moment while I...
use the stapler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mr. Huckle now. Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle?
Come in here, Laszlo.
Yes, sir, Mr. Huckle.
Running behind schedule today.
Coming, Mr. Huckle.
The little man grabbed the stack of stapled poems and made for the inner office, his arms and legs working like a crab's. When he disappeared into the inner office, I took a look around. Hung on the wall was a certificate of merit from the Amalgamated Advertising Agencies of America, made out to Buddy Huckle. It read, in gold leaf, "Your poems move merchandise." There was a stack of magazines on Laszlo's desk. I reached for one and was about to open it when Laszlo reappeared from the inner office.
Yeah. Such a busy day.
When can I see the poet?
Soon. Oh, you disturbed my stapler.
I must have done that when I picked up this magazine.
Yes, a wonderful magazine. Mr. Huckle contributes to it regularly.
Uh-huh. Folk stuff.
Yes. Oh, Mr. Huckle again. Yes, sir?
Send Regan in, Laszlo.
Yes, Mr. Huckle.
I may go right in.
Why, yes, but don't take too much of Mr. Huckle's time. He's a very busy man.
I found Buddy Huckle seated behind a bluish cast aluminum desk. Very utilitarian.
Utility, Mr. Regan. No frou-frou here.
Buddy Huckle had been handsome, but now he was a gross 40. His overlarge face hung in little white puffs, damp-looking.
You're tan, Mr. Regan. You don't get work done sitting in the sun.
Over Huckle's desk hung the motto, Drive.
Regan, I can give you 3 minutes.
You're paying for it.
Hey, you're Regan, I like you.
Thanks.
You're utilitarian. No frou-frou. No...
What's the matter, Huckle?
Little white box. Desk.
Huckle was dying. His lips gathered blue patches around the edges. His huge head rolled weakly. I opened his desk and found a small white box. Inside there were pills as big as bullets. I shot one into his gaping mouth and he swallowed. In moments, his body firmed and he seemed to have come out of it.
Heart attack, Regan. Nothing. Have them all the time. Drive myself too hard. But that's all right. I've got money.
It makes nice salad.
You've given me a poem.
You use a dictaphone?
Of course. Did you think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and olive ink? Poem. Title. Money Ain't Salad. Money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around. So spend your wealth, but not your health. Live wisely. Take a tip. For money sure ain't salad. It sure won't cure the grip. Signed, Buddy Huckle.
America's Bard Laureate.
Exactly. $100 a line.
Who's giving you trouble, Huckle?
Don't know. Take a look at these.
Poison pen notes.
Nasty business.
Uh-huh. Paste-up letters. No one's handwriting appears, so you couldn't check a typewriter. Very smart.
Yeah, all these words came from my published poem.
Yeah, individual words cut out of the poems, then pasted on a plain piece of white paper so they form a message.
Read that one.
One more poem with a chuckle, and death will take you, Huckle.
Oh, crude poetry. Rank imitation of my product.
And someone's threatening your life.
Trying to scare me into not competing in this year's Hotchkiss Award for time capsule poetry.
Time capsule poetry?
Yeah. The winning poem is placed in a time capsule and buried for posterity by Hotchkiss University. To win means nationwide publicity and, of course, a $10,000 prize.
Yeah, the Lion told me. You have any idea who might want to stop your...
You're creating? No. That's why I'm paying your agency.
Mm-hmm. Who publishes most of your stuff?
I have a contract channeling my efforts into Folk Stuff magazine.
Okay, Huckle. If you need me, call me at Folk Stuff magazine.
Wait, Regan.
Yeah?
Regan, I'm scared.
He was scared. But it didn't stop his reaching for the dictaphone when I left. I'd given him another idea for a poem when I said I was going to check Folk Stuff. The magazine was located out in the cute section of Westwood. The building was 3 stories high and constructed to look like Paul Bunyan. The elevator operator said,
"Howdy, neighbor,"
and took me to the editorial offices. I expected to see old Father William behind the editor-in-chief's desk. But what I found was young, blonde, formed by a strict diet and exercise, dressed by Vogue, and had a voice like a warm night.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
The secretary said I'd find the editor-in-chief in here.
Sit down, Mr. Regan. I'm the editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
My name's Julie. If you're a writer, Mr. Regan, I'll publish you.
Well, that's not what I had in mind.
Then perhaps we might do a manuscript together.
That's nice, but...
I'll just turn on the phonograph. I hope you like American folk music.
Love it.
Get so lonely working up here in Paul Bunyan.
We can be lonely anywhere.
People think me unapproachable. I surprise them.
Sure, lady. Now, about Buddy Huckle.
Oh, him.
Come to think of it, maybe I'd rather hear about you. How come?
All this?
Yeah.
Why, I'm in charge of a folksy magazine.
Something like that.
There's money in folks, Mr. Regan. I bought out this magazine when I learned how many folks there were in America.
Oh. Do the folks know about you?
We don't have many folks out here in California. Mostly the sophisticated type, Mr. Regan. The kind that would take advantage of a girl if they were left alone with her.
Uh-huh.
But I see you want to get back to Buddy Huckle.
Yeah, I had that in mind.
What do you want to know?
Do you know anyone around here that would like to see Huckle stop producing poetry?
Practically all of us feel that way.
Or maybe kill him?
We're all of us capable of murder, aren't we, Mr. Regan?
Works that way.
But why do you ask about Buddy Huckle?
Well, he has a contract with your magazine. You publish all his poetry.
There must be some mistake, Mr. Regan. I don't publish a line of his.
I nodded once because of impact. Then I nodded again to say goodbye. I left still nodding to the elevator operator who said,
So long, neighbor.
You know anything about Buddy Huckle?
Just he's doing a big broadcast from an Oklahoma barbecue over Long Beach tonight, neighbor.
I headed for Long Beach to have a long talk with Buddy Huckle. It was beginning to look like a publicity setup. When I arrived, I found the broadcasting studio on the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. Just outside the studio door stood a woman, middle-aged, her hand gripped in her handbag. That old look of murder on her face.
Let go of my arm.
What's in the handbag, lady?
If you think I'm going to say hairpins, you're nuts.
All right, let's take a look.
I got a gun.
I thought maybe.
Let me go.
Looking for someone?
Yeah. That louse Huckle.
You've been sending him love notes you've cut out of magazines?
Who are you?
Regan, private investigator.
Well, I'm not afraid of you.
That's nice.
I was Buddy Huckle's wife, Regan. Now he's cut off my alimony, and I'm going in there to shoot him dead.
A lot of people in there, lady. Witnesses.
Oh. You say you're right.
Thank you.
You talked me out of it.
Goodbye, lady.
Goodbye, mister. And thanks.
The broadcasting room was a regular hotel room that had been wired for sound. There was a character in a padded suit that kept eyeing a clock and rubbing his moist hands on his sleeves. This must have been the producer. Buddy Huckle was seated at a green-top table, his eyes on the papers in front of him. Wasn't quite 10, so I said hello.
Hello, Regan. I'm on the air in 2 minutes.
Oh, that's a lifetime, Huckle. If you had a dictaphone, you could make yourself $1,000 in 2 minutes.
Maybe 500.
You don't look scared.
Oh, that. You can forget our little talk of this afternoon. While I was dictating this afternoon, the culprit walked in, Mr. Regan. I found out who it was threatening me, sending me the note.
Would you mind telling me who?
Oh, nothing to worry about, nothing at all. I don't know why I was so concerned. Just figure your time and make me a refund on my retainer.
A certified pleasure.
Huh?
Quiet, please. We're ready to cut you in now, Mr. Huckle.
I'm ready, George.
Okay, stand by. You're on the air in a second. Take my cue.
Well, howdy, folks. This is America's Board Laureate, Buddy Huckle, talking to you. And, folks, I got a swell little old poem for you folks that I hope you're plumb going to like a lot. I kind of like to call it Money Ain't Salad. Goes, they say money ain't salad, neighbor. Won't help you when you're down. There's nothing like a pork chop when supper rolls around.
I couldn't take it. I gently made my way around George, the radio producer, to the door and out. It took me a little time to make my way through the crowd down to the street, and I stood there on the sidewalk for a few moments wondering about Buddy Huckle. Maybe Huckle wasn't as safe as he thought. That was his business now. And suddenly, high overhead above the sounds in the street, there was a shattering of glass. Screams from the street as a figure came hurtling toward the pavement. I jumped. Just in time. The body hit the sidewalk. If you looked hard, you could recognize what was left as Buddy Huckle. The final poetic touch was a framed sign that hit right after the body. On the sign was the motto, Drive.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled, There's Nothing Like a Pork Chop When Supper Rolls Around.
A man's body was spread-eagled on a concrete sidewalk. He'd fallen, or been pushed, from the 5th floor of the Ocean Stone Hotel. The body had belonged to a poet named Buddy Huckle. Very popular guy. His discarded wife had been in the hotel gunning for him, and somebody had been sending Huckle notes threatening his life. Maybe his wife. Well, now he didn't have to worry about the race for popularity. He was dead. Since all concerned were L.A. people, Homicide finally put Sanducci on the case. When Sanducci finished in Long Beach, we drove back to L.A. in his squad car, the hearse following us.
Facts, Regan. Look at the facts.
Facts can lie, Sanducci. What's your theory?
You can't convict on theory. Speed it up, Max. We'll never make L.A.
Okay, what are your facts, Sanducci?
Look, fact one.
Let me try. Buddy Huckle is dead.
Smart boy.
Fact two, he fell to his death from 5 stories up.
Right.
His former wife was spotted at the scene of the crime.
And she was gunning for her former husband, Buddy Huckle. You said so yourself, Regan.
Oh. What about George, the radio producer?
He was still in the studio. Didn't see anything. Step on it, Max.
There were no witnesses.
There were 3. They say they saw a woman running away from the scene of the crime.
Oh, you know how witnesses become confused, Sanducci. They may all be wrong.
Said woman became lost in the crowd during the confusion.
Yeah, and you now have an all-points call-out on Buddy Huckle's former wife.
The woman is dangerous, Regan. She's armed.
Well, didn't the witnesses say they saw anything else?
How much you want a witness to see, Regan? Be satisfied.
You know the trouble with facts, Sanducci? You gotta stop when you've got all that'll fit. Where do you place that motto that came down on top of the body?
Give it time. It'll fit.
Yeah, well, it so happens it came from the wall of Buddy Huckle's office.
Look, did you ever hear of planted clues, Regan? The dame is trying to outsmart us. She planted a sign, tried to throw us off.
All right, have it your way, Sanducci. Hurry up, Max. We got to get back to L.A. fast. Hey, why is he slowing down?
Regulations. Max doesn't take orders from anybody but me. All right, step on it, Max.
We arrived in town. The time of night you think you see figures waiting with knives in every puddle of dark. 3 a.m. First I had to check with the line. I made it to his apartment. There was a wafer of light coming from under his door. I walked in. Lion was sound asleep on the couch. A pencil hanging from his mouth, sheets of scribbled paper on the floor. Come on, Lion, get off it.
Hello, public library. Send me... Oh, it's you, Jeffrey.
Expecting a love bandit?
I must have forgotten to lock the door.
One world and a lock on every door.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I was working on my entry for the Hotchkiss Award for Time Bomb Poetry.
Capsule.
Oh, yes. I have another stanza, Jeffrey. Listen. The glory of action, the splendor...
Lion, our client is dead.
Dead? Oh, but that's horrible, my boy. When?
No
How?
time for that. Look, I gotta have your help to find Buddy Huckle's former wife.
Yeah, but I'd planned on spending the rest of the night working on my poem.
Her first name is Mona. That's all we've got. You've got to find her while I check on a dictaphone and a blonde editor.
Oh, a description, Jeffrey.
About 5'10", medium build, brown hair. Last seen in Long Beach wearing a yellow cotton dress, no hat. You're racing the police on this one, Lion. And when you get her, hang on, but be careful. She's wanted for murder. For what I needed, there was only one place to go now. The inner office of the late Buddy Huckle. Dark inside the office. Very. The door to the inner office was locked. None of my keys would work, so I used my shoulder. The door gave, and I was in the inner office. I snapped the lights on. When a man's just dead and you're in his room, you keep looking around for him. And I was alone, and I saw what I wanted, the dictaphone. I played the wax roll that was on the machine.
Signed, the Bard Laureate, Buddy Huckle.
I heard a lot of stuff. Poems, mostly, delivered in his rapid-fire manner. Then I heard myself.
You used a dictaphone? Of course. You think I wrote poetry with a quill pen and mauve ink? Poem. Title. Money ain't...
I lifted the playback head. For luck, I tried the end of the dictaphone record. This was really good.
The sign comes, the silent thrust of death by the tempered blade. Sharp, sweet sharpness. I refuse to read any more of this tribe.
Yeah, that didn't sound like Buddy's rhyming cry-pie type of poetry. I played the very end of the record to get the signature, signed Buddy Huckle. But instead I got...
You've made me read this, but I won't sign this lousy poem.
That was the end of the record. Suddenly, without looking up, I knew there was someone standing behind me.
You're Regan.
Mona.
I saw you earlier, now I see you again.
What are you doing here?
I ain't so dumb I don't know the cops are after me.
Well, they probably know you're here right now.
I snuck in.
And you're not going to reach into that purse for your gun again.
I hocked it in an all-night joint.
Well, look, why don't we just sit down quietly and talk, Mona?
Yeah, well, I ain't so dumb I don't know what you're trying to do, mister.
What am I trying to do, Mona?
Well, I just came here to see if maybe Huckle made out an alimony check for me. And maybe didn't mail it.
That's what I'm trying to do?
I need all the money I can get now that the cops are hot after me for something I didn't do.
You're sure you didn't push Buddy Huckle through that window, Mona?
I ain't got the strength.
No, guess not.
I need dough to run away from the cops, Mr. Regan. Maybe you could take my case, huh? I got $6 for the gun.
Well, maybe I can help you, Mona. Look, hole up in the Rondo Hotel. Give a fictitious name. The police are liable to check this office.
Gee, you've been real good to me, Mr. Regan. You took my case, and here's my $6.
No thanks. We'll take it up with the Lion later.
The Lion?
Never mind. But find that hotel. I've got to find an editor-in-chief. The phone book gave me Julie's home address. Julie being the editorial brains behind Folk Stuff magazine. It was almost dawn now, but when I rang the doorbell of her swank apartment, I got an immediate response.
Come in, Mr. Regan.
I went in.
You know the police have already come and gone.
Yeah, they get around.
You're expecting to find something they didn't?
Thought maybe.
Drink, Mr. Regan.
Well, it has been a long night.
Say when.
Now.
Rugged individualist. Decided to do that manuscript with me?
Not what I had in mind, lady.
Maybe you'll tell me what you did have in mind.
You were closer to Buddy Huckle than most people know.
Just so, sir.
Huckle had a reputation as a poet. He set you up as editor of Folk Stuff magazine. But you were pretty rich, even for his blood.
You know, you're wrong, Mr. Regan.
I am?
But it makes a good story. More?
Why don't you try? Maybe it'll make more sense.
The magazine Folk Stuff does belong to me, Mr. Regan. No strings. Although Huckle did like to spend money on women, I wasn't one of them.
Sounds good. Go on.
Buddy Huckle had a reputation that helped sell my magazine. There was only one thing. He couldn't write poetry.
Oh. So when you told me that Huckle didn't write a line that went into Folk Stuff, you weren't lying. Huh?
Even I couldn't stand his poetry. I made little changes here and there in every line. It gave me a sense of accomplishment. He didn't seem to mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, lady, I guess that's all here.
Oh, Mr. Regan.
Lonely Julie grabbed my lapels, held me tight, and kissed me. But I managed to break away. After a while. I had to leave in the line of duty. And the man I had to see was the one that had last seen Buddy Huckle alive. George, the radio producer. I reached him at his home.
Mr. Regan.
You produced Buddy Huckle's broadcast at the Ocean Stone Hotel last night.
Lousy show, no fire.
Yeah, but you were the last man to see Buddy Huckle alive.
No, there must have been somebody else.
You followed Huckle out into the hallway after the lied to the police. You must have seen something. What?
I stayed in the studio.
Oh, George, open up.
Ow! I don't want to get mixed up in it. Let me alone. Now. All right. I got a police record back in Shy, Regan. You won't...
No deals. But make it the truth.
Okay. It was just I didn't want to get mixed up in no killing.
What'd you see?
I followed the star out of the studio like I always do to tell him it was a great show.
Yeah?
Only when I opened the door, I saw this little guy pop out of the crowd and plant his two hands against the star.
Buddy Huckle?
Yeah, and push him through the window.
Thanks, George. That's all I need.
I tried to step back before I saw it happen. I got a record, Regan.
Sure. Try not to worry, George. Everything may turn out all right. The little man, George, had seen push Huckle out of the window, could be Laszlo, Huckle's secretary. I checked all morning trying to find Laszlo, but he'd disappeared from the face of the earth. Then I got to thinking what kind of a guy Laszlo appeared to be. A thinker. Now, where would a thinker type go to hide if he was afraid of something? Someplace familiar to give him a sense of security, yet off the beaten path. It hit me. Sure. The public library. And that's where I found him. 2 flights below street level in the last reference room. Laszlo. His round popcorn white head was bent over a book. Hanging above his head was the public library sign, Silence.
it's you again.
Come with me, Laszlo.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Stop poking your pocket at me, Laszlo.
It's a dueling pistol. It belonged to Edgar Allan Poe, and it'll fire again in righteous cause.
Yeah, sure. Now listen, Laszlo. I know you finally blew your top about Huckle's poetry. You sent him those pasted notes threatening his life to keep him from writing any more.
He dictated his poetry.
It's all over, Laszlo.
No. You can't prove anything.
You were seen pushing Huckle to his death.
Oh. But I just couldn't stand it any longer. Today, after you left, I held this dueling pistol to his head and made him dictate one of my poems for spite. And then I resigned.
Go on.
He put money ahead of art. With his reputation, he was going to win the Hotchkiss Prize without their even looking at his work, while my poetry would go begging. You realize that I am one of only 4 men in the world who really understands Gertrude Stein?
Go on, Laszlo.
I didn't want to hurt him. Just frighten him into ceasing to write poetry.
You followed him to the broadcast last night.
Yes, it was the last resort. I was going to interrupt the broadcast. Tell the world he was an imposter, not a poet.
Yeah, but you have the motto from his wall with you.
Yes, positive proof of his inartistic approach. His motto was drive. But I couldn't go through with it. I was leaving when...
You saw Huckle leave the scene of his latest triumph, the broadcasting studio. This was too much. You killed him.
I was blind with rage.
In pushing Huckle, you dropped the motto out of the window, huh?
Well, I don't know. I don't remember. It all happened so fast.
Let's forget the dueling pistol, Laszlo. Just come along quietly.
No, you shan't take me alive.
Hand that gun over, Laszlo.
No, stand back!
The dueling pistol went off in his hand. The bullet cracked the ceiling. I grabbed the gun away from Laszlo. He didn't put up much of a fight. And then I led him from the library as quietly as possible. Sanducci, down at Homicide, felt as sorry for Laszlo as I did. But now Laszlo should have plenty of time to write poetry and not worry about selling it. State will take care of him. George, the radio producer, got a dressing down for withholding information, and I called Mona to tell her she was no longer under suspicion. And that wrote the end. It was high noon when I checked in with my boss, the Lion, at the bureau. He was reciting.
Oh, yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision.
You still can enter the poetry contest, Fatso?
Of course, my boy. The 10,000's as good as mine. I've just completed my work of art.
Okay. How does it go?
Oh, it's classic, Jeffrey. Yeah. Reminiscent of ancient Sanskrit poetry. In translation, of course.
Well, I've had a hard night, but I'd like to hear it.
Well, you've heard most of it. I'll just give you the ending.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
And tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness.
Oh, that's real fine.
Oh, yes. And every tomorrow a vision of hope. Why are you walking around?
Oh, just looking, Lion.
Now, you just sit still while I finish. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation to the dawn.
Aha! What's this in your wastebasket?
Nothing, Jeffrey.
A library.
Give me that.
Oh, no.
The cleaning woman must have dropped it there.
What title of the book? Great Poems by Unknown Poets.
Yeah. Well, since nobody claims them, Jeffrey, it would be a shame to see them go to waste.
Jack Webb, Investigator is written by William Frug and Gilbert Thomas, produced and transcribed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Frank Graham as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima cigarettes. Best of all long cigarettes. brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A band of dope peddlers launches a full-scale operation in your city. Their merchandise, marijuana. Their victims, high school students. Your job, get them.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, April 11th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from R&I, and it was 10:25 a.m. when I got to Central Station. Narcotics detail.
Joe?
Hi. What'd you find out?
Talked to the coroner. He finished posting the body.
Yeah.
Cause of death, multiple fractures of the skull, internal injuries. Boy was 17 years old.
Yeah.
You checked the car?
Yeah, the kid must have been doing at least 70 when he hit that street light. It's a real mess. The car was really wound around that pole.
We're going to have to dig up a fast answer somewhere. Lousy racket.
Well, there's only one way to burn it out. Find the big man and throw the book at him. Make him an example he'll never forget, huh?
You checked with Juvenile Bureau?
Yeah, the evidence has been booked with the property clerk. How about the boy's parents?
Mrs. Moore wasn't feeling too well. They drove her home. Father's still down the hall, Inspector Walker's office.
Can we talk to him now?
Yeah, he should be free by now. Let me check the book.
I already did. There's no calls.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. You know, there's only one thing fortunate about this whole thing.
What do you mean?
Well, the kid being alone when he cracked up would have been a slaughter if he had a car full of his friends with him.
It's still pretty grim.
How's the boy's father taking it?
Usual, pretty rough. He should be able to help some.
Yeah.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, Sergeant. Inspector asked me to wait here for you.
Yes, sir. This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. Mr. Moore, Joe.
Mr. Moore? Mr. Friday. I just don't understand it, Sergeant. I don't understand any of it. My boy Ken wasn't the type to go racing around like that in the car. He never took the car without my permission. I just don't know what got into it.
Had you noticed at all whether your boy was acting a little strange the last few weeks or so?
No. Of course, I only saw Ken in the morning, a few hours in the evening. I'm at the office all day. Why do you ask that?
Well, was he going out very often on school nights, or keeping odd or unusual hours?
We used to go to the library 3 or 4 nights a week to do schoolwork. Got home about midnight a few times, and I warned him about that.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any way of knowing if he was really spending his nights at the library?
No, but I took his word for it. Ken didn't lie to me. What's this have to do with the auto accident, Sergeant? I don't think I understand.
The officers investigating the accident, sir. They checked over the car afterward.
What was it? Were the brakes bad? What'd they find?
Joe?
Yeah. So you see this small metal case? We found it in the front seat on the floor of the car.
What's that stuff inside? Did this belong to Ken?
Yes, sir. We think he was using it.
What for?
I don't know. It's marijuana. Men and women who traffic in narcotics all the way from the small-time peddler to the big wholesaler are rated among the lowest kind of criminal. One step lower, you find an even more vicious kind. Those who lure youngsters into the deadly trap of narcotics, who feed on the nickels and dimes by supplying their young victims with dope. The death of 17-year-old Kenneth Morrow was the second of its kind within 8 months. It seemed to stem from unidentified suspects who were making it their business to build a thriving marijuana trade among high school students. Thursday, 11 a.m. We continued to question the dead boy's father, Thomas Morrow, but he couldn't tell us anything further that might help. Friday, April 12th. We checked with the principal of the high school which the Morrow boy attended. We talked to the boy's teachers and checked his school record. His marks had been above average till about 3 months before when they began to fall off for no apparent reason. We got a list of most of the boy's friends from his teachers, and we started checking them out. One was a 16-year-old blonde girl, Peggy Kane, supposedly Kenneth Morrow's girlfriend. We found her waiting outside the music room.
Yes, Ken and I went around together for a while. He was a real nice boy.
Did you see each other quite a bit, Peggy?
Oh, for about 5 or 6 months, yes, we got along fine. Just after Christmas was the last time I went out with him, and we double dated.
Mm-hmm. Did he seem all right to you then? I mean, did he act different at all?
Well, a little different, yes. Not silly, you know. He just wasn't like he used to be.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, he didn't talk the same. Ken was a real nice boy most of the time. I guess he started getting in with the wrong crowd. He began to swear, you know, bad talk, things like that.
When did all this start, Peggy? Do you remember?
Just before Christmas, I think. I'm not sure. Poor Ken.
Is there anything else you might have noticed?
I don't know. Ken used to be pretty good about his studies, and all of a sudden it seemed he just didn't care. Sometimes he'd come into the library. We used to study there. And he'd make a lot of noise. He just changed, that's all. After a while, we didn't see each other there anymore.
Well, why was that, Peggy?
We just didn't come down. I called his house a couple of times. His folks said he was at the library. I didn't say anything to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, did Ken have many friends here at school? Do you know that?
Not many, no.
I see. Well, those he did have, who would you say was closer to him?
Oh, gee, I don't know, Sergeant. There were half a dozen of them. Ken used to be with all of them.
No one boy in particular?
Well, Bob Lavelle, maybe. I saw Ken in Bob's car a few times.
Does Lavelle go to school here?
Yes, he's a senior. Ken used to work with Bob down in the cafeteria after school, but he got in a mix-up. He was fired.
Bob was fired?
No, Ken.
Oh.
He was rude to one of the ladies down there who does the cooking. Bob still works there.
Would he be at the cafeteria now, do you know?
Yes, I think so. The fountain's open till about 3:30.
And you think that this Bob Lavelle was about the closest friend that Ken had, huh?
I think so. The only one I know, anyway. Have you talked to Ken's folks?
Yeah, we have.
I feel so sorry for him. Oh, gee, I think I have to go now, Sergeant. I have a chemistry class.
Just one more question, Peggy. Last time you went out with Ken on this double date, who was the other couple? Do you remember?
I don't remember their names. They were some kids I never saw before. Ken knew them. It wasn't much of a date.
Mm-hmm. Where did you go?
We started for the show, but Ken changed his mind. He wanted to go to the beach and park. He was acting funny, talking all the time, saying silly things. The other boy was the same way.
Oh, were they drinking?
No, I never saw Ken take a drink. I couldn't smell any liquor on his breath. I don't know. It was such a silly thing.
What's that?
Well, maybe it's just my imagination, but Ken and this other boy had a real terrible musty smell about them. I kidded them about it, and they said they'd been to a tea party. That's where they got it. They kept talking silly like that all evening.
I see. Was the musty smell all over the car or just on the bed?
All over. Kind of made me sick, but they didn't seem to mind it.
Well, look, I'd like you to think real careful, Peggy. Have you ever come across that musty smell on anybody around the school here?
Yes, I have. A couple of times. Makes me sick. What is it?
Who did you notice it on, Peggy?
Bob Lavelle.
Ben and I went back to the principal's office and checked the record on Robert Lavelle. He was 18 years old, and he was scheduled to graduate in June. The registrar told us that there was a good chance that he wouldn't be graduated because his marks had been poor for the better part of the year. They dropped even lower during the present semester. Lavelle had played football the year before and had made third string on the all-city team. He was well liked by his teachers. For the last 2 years, he'd worked part-time at the school soda fountain. We went down to interview him.
Nice setup, huh?
Yeah.
Cafeteria, soda fountain. Wasn't like that in my day.
That must be the boy there behind the counter.
Oh, yeah.
Let's sit down.
Mm-hmm. How about that, Joe?
What's that?
That sign hanging up there. Idiot Special. 5 scoops of ice cream, marshmallow, bananas, chocolate, strawberry flavoring, whipped cream topping, maraschino cherries, chopped nuts, and onion?
No, you're reading over. That's on the hamburger sign there.
Oh.
Yeah? You want something?
Chocolate soda. Could you make it with vanilla ice cream, please?
Chocolate soda with vanilla cream.
Are you Bob Lavelle?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers, Bob. We'd like to talk to you.
Oh. Well, I'm pretty busy right now. Got to clean up. We close in a few minutes. I'll make you soda right away. You say chocolate?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, we'll make it brief. Did you know Ken Morrow, Bob?
Oh, yeah. He used to work here.
Did you spend much time with him? Outside of school, I mean?
Not much. Went to a couple of shows together. That's about all. I'm kind of rushed now.
When was the last time that you saw him? You remember?
A week ago, I guess. Too bad about Ken.
How about the night he was in the accident? Did you see him then?
No, I didn't know him too well. He went around with a different crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, reach me a bag of those cashews, huh, Joe, on the card there?
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, thanks. Want some? Crisp?
No, thanks.
The nuts are a dime, officer.
Right there on the counter, Bob.
Oh, yeah. I got to get going as soon as I close. I have to get downtown.
We talked to some of Ken Morrow's friends around the school, Bob. They tell us that he used to drive around in your car with you quite a bit.
Just a couple of times around school.
And you hadn't been with him for about a week before the accident.
That's right. Just what I told you.
Mm-hmm.
You want a little whipped cream on that?
Yeah, Lil.
How about a cherry?
Good idea.
There you are.
Thank you. Too late to fix a hamburger?
Yeah, I really got to close up. It's getting a little late, officers. I'm going to have to close up right now.
Well, we'll make it fast. Did you notice anything different about the Morrow boy in the last few weeks? Anything peculiar at all?
No, he was the same as ever. I didn't notice anything.
All right, look, Bob, we're going to lay it out for you. Did you know he was using marijuana?
No, I didn't know anything about it.
You have any idea where he might have gotten it?
I wouldn't know that. Look, you mind if I lock up the counter now? I'll come around the other side.
Sure, go ahead.
I didn't know that about Ken, officer. I wouldn't know where he got the stuff. You sure he was using Mary?
Well, we found some in his car. We found some more in his locker upstairs.
That's tough. Anything more, officer? I got to hurry.
Well, it's just routine, Bob. We did the same with the other boys we talked to. We'd like to check your locker. You don't mind, do you?
I got to get downtown. I'm late now.
Your locker's just upstairs, isn't it? Won't take that long.
It's important to me. I got to get downtown.
We've got our car outside. We'll drive you down. We'll be down there in no time.
No, I've already got a ride. Can't you check it tomorrow?
Not going to take a minute, Bob. Now, let's go, huh?
All right. Say, I happen to remember I didn't bring my locker key today.
That's so?
Yeah. Come to think of it, I don't know where it is. Guess I lost it.
Well, they must have a pass key around here, don't they?
I don't think so.
Well, we'll ask at the office, huh?
You're putting me in a jam, officer. That's going to take time. I'm due downtown.
I'm sorry, Bob, but we got to check it.
I got my locker all jammed up with stuff. It'll take us an hour.
Office is down there, Joe.
Yeah, all right, let's go.
I don't know why you're picking on me. My locker's jammed. They can't get it open. Why are you picking on me?
Let's ask him here. Go ahead, Bob.
Close the door.
Yeah?
I got my key. I'll show you.
Robert Lavelle took us to his locker and opened it. Hidden inside one of his gym shoes, we found 4 sticks of medium-grade marijuana. We took them, put them in an envelope, and sealed it. On the way downtown, the boy told us that he'd been buying this stuff for about 6 months and reselling it to some of the students at the high school. Said that he paid 50 cents apiece for the sticks and sold them for 75. He was an occasional user himself. Before we turned him over to the juvenile officers, he told us that a man named Ray Jensen supplied him with the marijuana. Jensen's address was a trailer camp in the southwest part of Los Angeles. We drove out and checked with the operator of the camp. He pointed out Jensen's trailer at the rear of the camp.
That one, Joe? The blue and gray one?
Yeah, this is good right here.
Okay.
Looks like Jensen's doing well, huh?
Yeah, nice-looking trailer. Just a minute.
Yeah? Police officer.
All right, open it up.
Get out of here.
Come
Get
on.
out. Watch it, Joe.
All right, hold it, mister. Get out. Get out.
All right, Jensen.
That's good, Ben. I'll get him.
Yeah. All right, come on, get out.
What's the pitch, huh? Where's your warrant?
It's all over the floor, Jensen. Marijuana.
Who tipped? One of those lousy kids, huh? Which one?
You guess. You know enough of them.
You can't tap me for all that. I'm not the big guy.
All right, then who is?
I don't know. I'm only one of the mules.
Where do you get your stuff?
The big guy, the big tomato. That's what they call him.
Yeah?
Big man. Nobody sees him. I don't even know what he looks like. Neither you.
You let us worry about that. Come on.
Big tomato. That's what they call him. You won't get him. He's smart. You won't get him in 89 years.
Maybe not, but we'll get him.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Now, here's an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
1949. Fatima more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. 1950. Another record-breaking year, with more long cigarette smokers insisting on Fatima quality than ever before.
In 1951, enjoy Fatima quality yourself.
Yes, friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest Turkish and domestic varieties, extra mild and superbly blended, to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Quality of manufacture. Smooth, plump cigarettes rolled in the finest paper money can buy.
Quality. Even to the appearance of the bright, clean gold and yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor.
Compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima quality yourself. Insist on Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Friday, April the 12th, 7 p.m. We searched the trailer and a stakeout was placed on it, and then we took Ray Jensen downtown to the main jail where he was booked for suspicion of narcotics, a felony. The next day, Ben and I went back and questioned him. We got nowhere. The only thing he'd tell us was that the leader of the marijuana ring was unknown to him. The big tomato, that's all he could tell us. We went back and started rechecking leads furnished us by some of the high school boys who had purchased narcotics from Robert Lavelle. They all ended nowhere. Meantime, the flow of marijuana into the schools and into the hands of the teenage students continued. We'd no sooner choke off one source of supply when two more would turn up. We knew that there was only one real solution: find the gang leader and wipe out the entire supply and distribution setup. We stayed on it. Monday, April 22nd. Ben got a call from one of his informants that he had a lead on the source of marijuana on the east side of town. The informant's name was Willie Breck, a groundskeeper at a golf course near one of the city high schools. We drove out to talk to him. We located Breck by the clubhouse near the first tee.
On the tee now, Art Dory, Richmond, Virginia.
You remember my partner, don't you, Willie? Joe Fry?
Oh, yeah. Hi.
How are you, Willie?
Kind of busy today. Big tournament.
Yeah, quite a crowd you got here. It's a nice turnout.
Yeah, you've been having trouble, huh? A lot of Mary in town?
Yeah, you think you can help us?
Maybe I can. Dirty business, huh? Working high school kids with that stuff. It's real dirty.
Any ideas, Willie?
Don't know how much of it's true. It's all from the grapevine downtown. The boss is somebody they call the Big Tomato. It's a funny one, huh?
Any idea who he is?
Couldn't say. He's getting lots of this stuff in, though. Usual feed line over from Mexico.
Mm-hmm. What else, Willie?
I hear there's more on the way. Don't know when, though. All for high school trade. Guess they figure they got a good business.
How'd they get them junk over, do you know?
No, but it's getting here. Most any kid can get some over on this side of town. Imagine that. Kids in their teens. Weed hits.
Yeah. How about this Big Tomato, Willie? No word at all?
Just one. Pretty thin.
Yeah.
There's a connection. Lives over on Hauser Boulevard. Got his number here somewhere. It's supposed to be the main connection for this tomato guy. Oh, yeah. There's his address. Third number there. It's a 6. His name is Tony Childs.
Mm-hmm. Is he supposed to handle all the stuff?
Most of it, I hear. Gets it all from the Big Tomato.
Mm-hmm. That about it?
That's it.
Tony Charles. You got the address?
Many thanks, Willie. Anything comes up, you'll call, huh?
Sure thing.
How's the job out here?
Better than yours. I sure wouldn't want it. Working every day around joy poppers, mules, mainliners.
Well, somebody's got to do it, Willie.
Yeah, but not for me, Sergeant. Those dopesters are all lice, selling junk to kids. Guess you met the lowest, huh?
No, not yet. We're looking for him. We went back to the office and checked the name and address of Tony Childs through R&I. No previous record. A stakeout was placed on his home and at his place of business. Childs himself was placed under 24-hour surveillance. A week passed. Nothing happened. Another week. Still nothing. There was no let-up in the supply of marijuana finding its way into the city and then into the schools. We couldn't see the beginnings of the racket, but we saw the end result. The percentage of juvenile users was still on the upswing. Wednesday, May 8th. We heard rumbles of another big marijuana buy in the offing. Either it failed to materialize or we missed it. Friday, May 10th. Ben and I took our turn shadowing the suspect, Tony Childs.
Can you see him from here, Joe?
Yeah. He's still in the barber shop. There's two guys with him.
Yeah. 4:10. We better check in, huh?
Yeah, I'll call in, huh?
Drugstore there. Must have a phone.
Yeah, all right. I'll be right back. Narcotics, please. Thank you. Yeah, Johnny, it's Joe Friday. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we got him paid. Okay, right away. Bye.
What have you got?
Tony Childs. They want him picked up right away.
How come?
Well, they just raided his place. They found 32 ounces of weed in his room. Supposed to have more on him.
Well, let's go.
Come on.
What do you think? Trouble?
Well, don't be surprised. Childs, like to talk to you.
What's that?
Police officers like to talk to you and your two friends here downtown.
Can't make it, copper. Flying to Vegas tonight. We want to see you downtown first. Luck don't push me, huh?
Nobody's pushing you, Childs. We want to see you downtown. Now, come on, let's go.
Look out, Joe, Ransom Sam. Watch it!
That's it. Three of them. Okay.
I'll get him.
All right, come on, you.
And I'm glad this doesn't come up often. Where's the barber?
He ran outside. Rough one, huh?
Yeah. What's your hunch, Joe? Think one of these three is the big tomato?
I don't know. Let's ask him. A search of the barber shop failed to reveal the presence of any narcotics. Tony Childs and his two companions were found to have a dozen sticks of marijuana in their possession. They were treated for cuts and bruises at Georgia Street and then booked for suspicion of narcotics, a felony, at the main jail. 3 other men found at Childs' apartment at the time of the raid were also booked. We got nowhere questioning any of them. As usual, we had the small fry, but the ringleader, the big tomato, was still in the clear. Still free to hire somebody else to run the marijuana supply line into the high schools. 3 weeks passed. Together with Captain Kearney and Sergeant Barr, Ben and I rechecked our earlier leads. We ran down anything that even looked like it might be promising. Nothing panned out. Wednesday, June 5th, 5:30 p.m. We got a call from the main jail. Tony Childs wanted to talk to us. Ben and I went over to see him.
Charles? I got something for you. Been playing the stooge long enough. If I'm good enough for jail, so's he.
All right, what do you got?
There's a big buy coming off. When you get him, tell him how long I've been in here.
What kind of a buy?
Mary, one of the biggest. It was set up before I got in here. Where's the meet going to be? Bruno Street, down by the train yards. I'll draw you a map. Setup's the same. Car pulls up and honks a couple of times, and an alley down there.
Who's handling the buy?
A big man. Don't waste any time.
When is it?
Tonight. We
went back to the office and met with Sergeants Barr and Jacobson. 8 p.m. Ben and I took up our positions on the stakeout along with the rest of the men. We had a clear view of the exact location where the buy was to be made. We waited. 10 p.m. 11 p.m. No one showed. Midnight came and went. 1:30 a.m. Still no sign. At 18 minutes to 2, we spotted a man carrying a shopping bag emerge from behind a row of freight cars near the end of the rail yard. He made his way across the street to the alley. He stood back in the shadows.
As soon as the car gets in the alley, we pull up and block it, huh?
Yeah, that's right. Beck will do the same thing down at the other end.
Headlights coming in the alley.
Wait a minute.
No, they're going on through.
What's the time now?
4 minutes to 2.
We waited. 18 minutes passed. Still no sign of the car that, according to Childs, was supposed to be there for the big buy. We could still see the figure of a man with a shopping bag huddled in the alley. 3 a.m.
Joe.
Yeah?
Car down there in the alley.
Yeah. That's it. You want to start up?
Yep.
Just enough to block the alley.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. All right, come on, let's go. Come on. All right, kill your engine and get out of the car. Joe, look out! They can't go far. Come on. All right, let's get them out of there.
Yeah. There's 3 of them. Here's the guy with the shopping bag.
All right, I got it.
Christ knocked them cold.
Yeah. That's one. Easy there. Yeah. Pull right over there, will you? That's it. Get his coat off of that. I got it.
Okay. That's it. All 3 of them.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this, Joe. Found one of them in this guy's hand.
Tin can, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Full of marijuana. Did you look at the labels on those cans?
Yeah. Fancy solid packed tomatoes.
There he is. A big tomato.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 3rd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, remember, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Now, believe me, this difference is mighty important. So important that you'll always remember the first pack of Fatimas that you buy. Fatima's fast-growing popularity backs me up on that. But look, you can prove it to yourself by getting a pack of Fatimas tomorrow. You'll find that they now cost the same as other long cigarettes, and your first pack will convince you to go right on smoking them. Join me and the new thousands who enjoy Fatima's extra mildness, Fatima's rich, better flavor and aroma. You'll discover what all we Fatima smokers know. In Fatima, the difference is quality.
John A. Stanson, alias the Big Tomato, along with his associates in the narcotic gang, was tried and convicted for violating the State Narcotic Act. He received sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary.
The radio editors of the United States and Canada have named Dragnet the best radio program of its type for 1950. And Dragnet's Jack Webb, the most promising star of tomorrow.
In behalf of Dragnet, I'd like to thank the radio editors of the United States and Canada and the editors of Motion Picture Daily who conducted the voting in the 15th annual poll for Fame magazine.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Later, here's Spellbound with Joseph Cotton on Screen Directors on NBC. the American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak. For hire. Down on the San Francisco waterfront, the only use they have for sentiment is to pick your pocket while you're saluting the flag. If you hang out around there as long as I have, you'll even learn to sleep with one hand on a cash box. So I wasn't expecting any cascade of lilies when Joe Adams drove down to Pier 19. He'd phoned that he was in a hurry and would stop by and pick me up in his car. He said he had a quick job for me to do. That was about all I knew about him. I wasn't worried about that either. In my work, you get used to odd-shaped hires, including those from guys who looked like a bundle of twigs with shoes on and drove like they owned the keys to the city.
Novak, this is a soft buck. All you gotta do is watch the joint.
If you keep driving through red lights like that, we'll both end up looking at the ceiling in the morgue.
So I disagree with the traffic department. Look, the joint's in North Beach, Vallejo Street. Here's the number. I wrote it down.
So you can read and write.
What do you mean?
What's the pitch? You afraid of mice?
No, and there's no extra cards in this deck.
Yeah? So far, it makes about as much sense as an 8-fingered glove.
Look, I have to meet a guy in Los Angeles. I haven't much time to make my plane. I lost my keys, so I had to bust in the door to get into my place. It was too late to get a locksmith. So I want you to watch until I get back tomorrow. Is that hard?
The way you're driving, breathing's hard.
You scare easy.
I scare plenty. I like to live.
Give me a good reason.
You wouldn't understand. You expect visitors tonight?
Look, I've got some stuff that I'd like to see around when I get back. And stop trying to read between the lines in this deal. It's all in the black type.
You can say that about a funeral speech.
You still worried about the way I drive?
No. Only why take a plane when this is faster?
Okay, if you can stop shaking long enough to walk, you can start here.
On the way back, I'll look for your brains.
Grab a cab. I'll pick up the check for it. And don't knock. Go right in. I'll be seeing you.
Probably in 4 pieces.
And keep awake, will you? Some of my neighbors would steal the handle off a blind man's cup.
Don't worry. I'll keep both eyes open.
You sound like you're saying one thing and thinking something else.
About keeping awake?
Yeah, what's worrying you, ghost?
I'm not buying this show the way you're staging it. Something sour in the deal. Yeah, that's all right, too. Just as long as you don't get any fancy ideas of making me the patsy.
Boy, you do scare easy.
Yeah, and I pay off bum debts, too.
Now I'm getting scared. So long, sucker.
Adams Joint turns out to be one of those walk-up flats. A nice wooden place that made you want to run for the firebox every time someone dropped a cigarette ash on the floor. The door was smashed around the lock all right, and the lights were out. When I found the switch and began to look around, it showed 4 rooms full of fancy furniture and decorations that made you wonder about Adams' private life. After I found out where the whiskey was located and pried 3 cushions loose from the easy chair, I looked around for something to do. There was a bookcase full of mystery stories and this and that. I passed the mysteries up without studying them. I knew that in every one of them the detective would come out on top. Yet I knew 4 private eyes who'd started out on just such trails and ended up in urns in Cypress Lawn. There was one book with a purple cover called Reckless Moonlight, with pictures. I was on page 30 with pictures when I was interrupted. They were too manly to make me glad. I jumped across the room and switched off the lights, and I stood just inside the door and waited. He didn't even knock. He came right in. From the back, he looked big enough to be a 10-ton trailer. He was fumbling in his pocket when I broke up the act. I chill up on the pocket pick, and this is a gun in your back. If they shoot, you'll hit a policeman's badge. Think that over. There's housebreaking a sideline with you, Hellman. I'd know that voice in a nightmare. And they blame gangsters for the crime wave. They don't know where to look. Just stand still, sweetheart, till I get my flash working. You want to borrow some burglar tools? I'll settle for some better manners right now. Where I come from, better manners started with knocking before you come cramming through a door. Where you came from, they didn't have doors. Just a damp rock. What's the idea of turning out the lights? How could I tell who was coming? You don't smell that bad. Do you tell me why you're here, or do I bounce it out of you? Don't worry. You can't parlay it into anything to tell a judge. A guy named Adams lives here. He had to get in a hurry, broke the lock, grabbed some things, and headed for the airport. He hired me to watch the place till he gets back tomorrow. He hired a bulldog to watch his steak? You don't like this story, huh? What do you want, mad musician?
You're mad enough without music. Tell me more.
That's all there is till you started whipping into fancy trimming.
I could see that and raise it without even string.
You couldn't raise a rumpus on New Year's Eve.
No? And how about the murder of Thomas Van Dyke?
I must have looked surprised. Hellman was pleased and mysterious. He kept prowling around the house, looking at books, up on shelves and behind the furniture like he expected to find Van Dyke's body there. In the meantime, he filled me in on the case. Van Dyke had been a heavy money operator in show business, sports promotions and such. He ran around with the mink and diamond crowd and did enough charity work on the side to build up a reputation for being a pillar of the community. Everyone was surprised when he turned up dead, including the police. Someone had shot him without leaving any signature on the job. The case had remained unsolved for almost a year. Of course, at the speed Hellman thought, he might have just found out about it. Now he was passing out hints the thing had grown hot again.
I was checking through the evidence and file, and I ran across something we'd missed.
Yeah, grand piano?
Some stuff in a diary. Have you been messing around in these books?
Is that why you're here? To borrow a book?
The diary didn't make any sense at the time of the death, but we turned up a vag the other day who worked with Van Dyke and some of his underground connections.
And now Van Dyke's the king of the thieves.
Something like that. I put together the stuff this vag told us with some of the things in the diary, and it began to look like pay dirt. There's a book missing.
Yeah, the Rover Boys, it's over your head, Hellman.
Death in Herald Square, it's called. And don't play that innocent routine too hard or you'll tire it out.
You're making about as much sense as a pig in a candy store.
The vag tied this address into one of the clues. How do you like them apples?
I wouldn't buy them at 10 cents a crate.
Look, Bright Eyes, I don't like waterfront punks sticking their guns in my back in the dark. I don't like you messing in this racket.
Are you unhappy, nervous, run down?
I want you to keep your nose out of this scamper, Novak. And if you think that's just a lot of breath, try me.
Why should I leave this house just because you're having a nervous decline?
Don't think I'm buying that routine about some guy hiring you to watch his clothes while he went flying. You got a lead in this murder, and you're trying to track it down.
How much is the reward again?
$10,000. Who said anything about a reward?
Yeah, so that's why you're nervous.
Keep out of this, Novak. I'm warning you.
You're hot for the payoff. I should have known you wouldn't get up off your fat...
I'm giving you one more chance to get out, Novak.
I was hired to do a job, Hellman, remember?
All right, wise guy. Come on. Open the closet.
Your nose is itching. Open it yourself.
Okay, Novak. See any men's clothes in there?
Not in this year's style.
Snap it up, Novak. Haven't you remembered by now that Joe Adams was the girl?
All right, so the guy dealt me a joker. I don't mean I'm trying to crash your party.
The dame Liz here is named Dodo Sandberg, and she ain't lonely. But you're going to be Novak, and soon.
Dodo Sandberg.
Maybe she'll come to see you in jail.
You're not booking me, Hellman.
I told you to stay out of this, Novak.
You got nothing on me but a nervous twitch because you think I might beat you to that reward.
I got nothing on you, except housebreaking. Come on down to the station.
Deal me out.
You want to argue? Hey, who turned out the lights?
I'm getting to like that Adams or somebody.
Stand where you are, Novak.
Sorry, Hellman, I just remembered the date with $10,000. Hellman chased me, but the way he's built, he didn't have a prayer. He hit the street, doubled around a couple of corners. I couldn't even hear him. When I got back my breath, I walked along for a while and tried to put what I had together. Any way I looked at it, one thing was clear. Joe Adams had played me for a country boy in some setup that had a whole lot more in it than showed on the table. I needed to see Adams to square that deal, but something Hellman told me seemed even more important. I liked the idea of trying my chances of cutting into that $10,000 reward for Van Dyke's death. All I had to work on was a dame called Dodo Sandberg and a book called Death in Herald Square. I looked at the clock and found I still had time to make it to the main library before it closed for the night, so I headed that way. When I got in the place at the Civic Center, it took the librarians quite a bit of scrambling around to get the book, but they finally turned it up just before closing time. I tucked it under my arm and started out of the place when the dame fell in step beside me. A nice set of curves tucked away in one of those new-style dresses with so many extra built-in bumps it looked like a sack of potatoes.
Didn't I meet you in Scarsdale?
The shy type.
I used to be. I outgrew it.
Keep right on growing somewhere else.
Do you have to be that way?
My hobby's books.
I noticed. That's why I wanted to meet you. I like the books you choose.
Before I pick that up, what's your name?
Dodo Sandberg. Watch out for the stairs.
So you're after the book, too.
I didn't say that.
I know. It's my fascinating personality.
A very good friend of mine wrote that book.
Does my reading it strain your eyes or something?
It's very interesting. Now let's talk about you.
You get around, don't you?
What do you mean by that?
What became of Joe Adams?
That's a question for his mother to worry about, Patsy.
I don't mind helping her.
Do they have to be mothers?
You need help like Midas needs dough.
There's help and help. What if a girl's lonely?
You aren't built for the job. Let's get back to Adams and the book.
Adams is no problem. He lives at the Standard Hotel on Polk Street.
Careless, isn't he, to forget that?
And how did you suddenly get a yen to read Death in Herald Square?
A cop told me about it. Why?
Because there's a better book on the same subject. It's called Death Waits Ahead.
Am I supposed to turn that into some kind of warning?
It could be. And here's a sample of what I mean.
She worked fast and smooth as a piston. There was some kind of judo, I guess. I was too busy falling to be sure. And the stairs didn't help any. By the time I picked myself up, she was out of sight. And so was the book. I sat there a while and thought about women. When I went back to the library desk, I didn't buy me anything. Seems they only had one copy of the book. It wasn't popular, they said. When I seemed anxious about getting a copy, they sent me to a bookstore on 3rd Street, which stayed open late. By the time I got there was nobody in the place except one of the hired help looking bored by the cash register. I asked him for the book, and he quit looking bored right away. He began to look nervous. He said he didn't have the book. He'd never heard of it, and they were closing anyway. Whatever the guy was, he didn't have a card in the Actors Union. I guess Crowley realized that as soon as I did. When I said I'd look around anyway, a curtain twitched in the back of the place, and he came out. A big guy with a nasty disposition.
You could do better than that.
Did someone send you to tell me how to live?
You're looking for death in Herald Square?
The word's all over town.
You ought to be out eating something instead of nosing around where you're not wanted. You ever heard of the prisoner eating a hearty breakfast?
That's a warning. You're third in line.
Yeah? Who else is interested?
A cop and a dame. You ought to team up and work it into 3-part harmony.
When they warned you, they were just trying to act like bad news. When I warn you, it's certified.
You don't look 8 feet tall. Put some meat on your skeleton.
My name's Pete Crowley. Did you ever hear of me?
I must read the wrong funny papers.
You got connections around the city.
You can say that about a sewer pipe. Something's making you twitch. Trot it out where I can see it.
Dodo Sandberg tells me you got your nose up in the air over the Van Dyke killing.
Does that worry you?
I'm hiding right now in Mexico.
What's the death's head routine for?
Before you run to the cops with a finger, listen carefully. I picked up Van Dyke's rackets when he dropped them. They pay off very nicely. I like the way they're moving along. I don't want you or any of the eager beavers from the Kearney Street station to nose over the apple cart.
I came here for a book. You don't look like it.
Also, I don't like anybody bothering Dodo. And that includes sailor salesmen and smart guys looking for a new home.
If she doesn't want anybody ringing her bell, tell her to take the signs out of her windows.
You look like a fairly bright boy. Take a tip. Fade out of this scramble while you're still in Mobile.
And if I don't?
Stick around and I'll show you my muscles.
I'd rather look at Dodo's.
2 of my muscles used to be rustlers. Think it over.
It began to look more and more like trouble, doubled in spades. I began to get the feeling if I planned to sit in the game anymore, it was time to start counting up the cards and seeing how the mirrors were placed. And the best guy for that sort of work was an old alcoholic friend of mine called Jocko Madigan. Jocko was a one-time doctor around town who gave up his practice when he learned that alcohol made him feel better even when he wasn't sick. Finding him was like taking a phone survey of the downtown bars. I pitched a strike at the 5th one I tried. At first, he didn't like the idea of moving, but when I told him I was phoning from a 3rd Street bar, he said he'd hop a cab. He came in while I was working on my second drink.
Patsy, my boy, I'm glad to see you, both of you. Or is that only 2 heads?
I could use to.
That's an involved way of saying you're in trouble. Goodbye.
Listen, Jocko, I got my foot in the door of a deal that might pay off big.
All you've got your foot in is a dirty shoe, Patsy, and with your usual luck, you'll probably end up with Hellman stepping on it.
He stepped on it already.
Oh, he did? Good. How is the old walrus anyway?
That's what I've been trying to tell you. I bounced into him tonight, and he was hot on the trail of the men who knocked off Van Dyke a year ago.
They're safe. Hellman couldn't put his finger on a fire eater in a darkened room.
What do you know about a book called Death in Harrow Square?
What do you know about the home life of the Macrocephalus pimebombix? As I was saying before thirst choked me off, some people collect seashells, some raise dogs, some go after goldfish or matchbox covers or pretty women, but not Patsy Novak. Oh, no. Patsy's different. Patsy wants to collect murders.
Did you ever hear of the book?
What book? You're talking too fast.
Death in Harrow Square. Van Dyke's murder ties into it somehow.
Talk sense, Patsy. Things are blurred enough without you jabbering nonsense.
Nonsense? I'm not on the right trail. Why have I been warned off 3 times already, including a threat from Pete Crowley?
Are you asking me?
Look, Jocko, there's $10,000 reward for the murderer.
Well, why didn't you tell me that 10 minutes ago and avoid all this verbiage?
Well, if you'd get your nose out of that whiskey bottle, you...
Skip the greetings, son. Let's get on to the money matters. What do you want me to do?
It's an old book. You know where to find it. I tried the library, but a dame called Dodo grabbed the dice.
I know just how to get it. A friend of mine in the Panhandle has a small bookstore and home distillery.
Listen, there's a Joe Adams fits in there somewhere. See what you can get on him, will you?
Do go on, you fascinate me.
Well, 2 other people were nervous about me since the thing broke. One is Crowley and the other is Dodo Sandberg. It seems to be tied to Crowley somehow. Can you get a check on him for me?
For $10,000, I can get a count on the fillings in their teeth. Is this Dodo Sandberg pretty?
Why?
I want to know where you'll be in case I have to phone. So long, lover.
I paid for Jocko's drinks and went out to the Standard Hotel. The room clerk gave me Joe Adams' number. He looked a little worried when he told me, but that could have been about a new boss or an old girlfriend. It could have, but it wasn't. Adams' room was on the 4th floor, and when I reached there in the elevator, Hellman almost ran over me trying to get in the cage. He was a nice salmon pink and panting like a bloodhound on a deer trail. He had a gun in one fat hand, a mouthful of verbs and adjectives.
Every time I turn a corner...
Who are you expecting, Princess Elizabeth?
Where did he go?
You better shift to the overdrive. You're racing your motor.
Where's Adams, Novak?
Don't start testing your muscles on me, Hellman. You must think I'm your wife.
This ain't playland, Novak. Adams just left his room. Where is he?
I'm not in the mood for company, Hellman.
You're going to talk. You're going to talk plenty.
What's all the pushing around about?
Don't pretend you're the country boy. You don't know what's going on.
Back up a bit and fill me in.
Adams told me he hired you to knock me off.
Yeah, and you believed it.
I know you don't work that way. But I wouldn't put it beyond you to pretend to go along with the proposition as long as you could milk a few dollars out of Adams.
Well, with your head, it's a wonder you don't believe it that I did it.
With my head, I remember that you were waiting in a darkened apartment with a gun when I came in. That you ran out on me, and that you show up now just when Joe Adams is escaping.
You put 2 and 2 together and get 22.
You're just a sort of a lousy conniving...
What about Adams? Is he the turkey that knocked off Van Dyke?
He got away when I started to dial the phone to call the wagon. I thought I told you to forget the Van Dyke murder.
You're full of tell, Hellman. Is Adams the one?
Pin this into your hat, Novak. I'm closing in on the one who did it, and I don't need you to help with the net.
Like you closed in on Adams?
Just let me stumble over you once more before I close this up, and I'll bet my badge I'll put you where you'll stand still.
And it could be Adams.
You hear what I said?
Yeah. I heard prices are going down, too, but I haven't noticed it.
I can fix that. You're going to a place where the feed is on the house.
Don't give me any more of that jail talk, Hellman, until you're ready to come in with some papers.
All I need to put you in a cage is a key. Let's go. I'll get him. You stay where you are, Novak.
He must think I'm a Boy Scout. That was screwy. That was twice Hellman had tried to jail me, and twice someone had fixed a breakaway. Any way you looked at that, it still meant somebody wanted me in circulation for some reason. Unless you believed in good fairies, the reason wouldn't be nice. If I guessed hard, I could make it relate somehow to the Van Dyke killing. But all I had for a trail on that was 3 people being nervous in a hard-to-get mystery book. From the way Adams saved me from Hellman, he looked like a good man to know more about, and fast. I knew that after the gun work in the hotel, I'd have to find him somewhere else. The only other lead I had on him was through Dodo. I headed back to her place on Vallejo Street. When she opened the door, she looked like something to fit in a fireplace ad. She was wearing a negligee thin enough to roll up and stuff in a pipe.
You bounced back fast.
You grow on me.
What do you want?
Van Dyke's murderer.
Who's Van Dyke?
You're a stranger in town. You never heard of him.
Come on in. I'm having coffee. Think you can risk drinking some with arsenic and all?
I got a strong stomach.
You're a nice-looking guy. You seem healthy. Why do you want to change?
Your boy Adams likes to play tricks. If I didn't try to pay him off for the hot foot he gave me, he might feel neglected.
Adams is just a flock of nerves looking for some place to break down. Forget him.
He tried to put me on a spot where I'd end up killing a cop. The gag laid an egg. Nobody's laughing.
Cream in your coffee?
Yeah. I'm still guessing why he did it unless he killed Van Dyke.
Sugar?
Look, he didn't just pick this house out of the phone book. That puts you in line to do some explaining.
I wouldn't explain how to turn over in bed until I've had a cup of coffee.
You aren't shaken where it shows.
Are you telling me how to live?
I'd have to start with the way you say goodbye on stairways. You didn't learn that trick in a finishing school.
It didn't finish you, but that's just because you're adorable.
So's my longing for Adams. Where can I find him?
I told you Adams don't mean anything. He just acts busy. He's like a fly, batting his wings off and ending up in the same place.
What place? Do I twist it out of you?
That book, Death in Herald Square. Did you find another copy?
That's for tomorrow. Tonight it's Adams.
You're wasting your time chasing Adams. Concentrate on the book.
I'm spreading my fire. How do I know that book isn't just a come-on to get me off the trail?
In the book, there was a millionaire businessman just like Van Dyke. He had connections in the rackets, just like Van Dyke. He had a partner, just like Van Dyke.
When do I start panting?
If you do, it'll be from running from the cops. That's all I'm giving you about the book.
I'll get the rest when I pick one up tomorrow.
You'll have a tough time doing that, Novak. The bookstores are all out of copies.
You collected them all?
Wasn't hard. A car, a telephone, little bustling about.
You're real sharp, Crowley, till you start looking at a map.
I have friends across the bay. You might try Sacramento or Los Angeles, but that would take some time, wouldn't it?
I guess time don't count after tomorrow.
Not with what you know, sonny boy. Am I being confusing?
You make a good try.
Well, this won't confuse you. I thought I told you I didn't like Dodo to be bothered.
She needs protection like J. Edgar Hoover.
And didn't I warn you off this caper?
Leave him alone, Crowley. He's harmless. Are you all done in the other room?
Yeah.
Come on, Novak. I want to make you a little present. There are the books you've been looking for, with only a few pages missing.
Yeah, Novak, you can have them. All 50 of them.
They're a little scarred, baby, but they'd still make a nice gift. Send them to your friends for Christmas.
If any of them can read.
You sound like you're ringing down a curtain.
That's right. After tonight, you just keep right on guessing.
About who killed Van Dyke?
No, baby. About how you're going to prove anything.
Mind if we sort of run along now? As soon as the lady gets dressed?
After they'd gone, I went through the books. Page 187 was torn out of each one of them. I felt like a man in an earthquake. Something told me to run, but I didn't know where to go. Trying to make sense out of what I knew was like trying to put together a drop cake. I wandered around the place till I found a drink. I was just lifting the glass when the telephone rang. Yeah?
Who's ahead, you or the moral squad?
Everybody's out in front of me, including Dodo and Crowley. Adams is out of sight.
You aren't alone.
Dodo and Crowley just went out the door. I said goodbye to them and $10,000.
Was Crowley that big, or was it the girl?
Crowley isn't worried, neither is Dodo.
That leaves Adams. Oh, I ran down that book of yours.
Crowley said he bought every copy in town.
Every copy in the bookstores. My friend remembered where he'd sold one. My friend with the still. We borrowed it. Oh, by the way, Van Dyke wrote the book.
Yeah? What's on page 187?
Let's see now. Yes, a description of Van Dyke's double life. On page 187 is a description of the front man, the gangster. Bad writing job. No wonder it didn't sell.
Who does it fit?
It doesn't fit anyone, Patsy. You only said that the person had a star tattooed on his chest.
It's a horse.
Now all you've got to do is to get them in a game of strip poker.
Get them. They're all gone.
Still a good idea, especially if Dodo sat in. So long, lover.
Give me Hellman.
Inspector Hellman speaking.
I got your killer for you.
That's that? Who's this? Novak?
Yeah. And don't start bubbling about my nose in your business.
Business is picking up.
You get Adams?
Adams? That's good. No, Novak. My stool pigeon got it. That fag I was telling you about.
That leaves you the only one knowing.
$10,000 worth. Don't think I'm coming after you, baby. You can stay there and rot.
So far, I feel healthy.
You think you can drag me off the trail after you by this phony phone call?
I know who did it.
Oh, no, you don't, Novak, but I do.
Yeah, fill it in.
I just got a phone tip where they're hanging out.
So they're sending out invitations.
I'll even tell you where they are. It's at the beach near a shooting gallery. I've got a siren in my car. Let's see you beat me out there. It's the first gallery below the ballroom.
Look, Hellman, you're the only guy alive who knows the whole story. What if this is a gag?
Oh, no, Novak. I'm not biting on any of your phony tricks.
But listen.
Save your breath to sob with when you see me pick up that nice fat check.
I thought a while, and suddenly the thing fell together like a winning poker hand. As soon as I saw it, I started running for my car. I don't know how it happened, but I beat them out there. I went along the bridge arterials, and they're widened fast. By stealing a flock of red lights and nicking the paint off a couple of fenders, I was out through the Presidio and over to Golden Gate Park in no time at all. When I hit the beach, it was foggy and empty. There was only one guy in the shooting gallery. When I got up near him, it turned out to be Crowley. He had a rifle in his hand. And he saw me first, down the barrel of the gun.
Don't back up, Novak. Come on in. You were looking for Adams, weren't you?
I was looking for a lot of things.
He's here behind the counter. Look, on the floor.
And did you kill him? Those bullet holes could be 22s.
Yeah, I killed him. Just as I'll kill you if you got any fancy ideas like trying to grab a gun.
What are you saving me for, Christmas?
Yeah, you dress up the joint. I want Hellman to walk into the trap just like you did. That's why I'm shooting at the targets. Like this. Bullseye. I'm good.
You'll have to be good to get away with killing a cop.
I hired Adams to do it. But he thought he'd get smart and frame you into the rap. That's why he hired you.
Did he expect me to kill Hellman that night?
Well, that's one of his bright ideas. He's full of bright ideas. Or he was. If he hadn't been so smart, he'd still be breeding. It's really very simple. Hellman got on the trail. And he was the only one in town who knew there was a trail, so he had to be killed.
He ain't dead yet. You're betting a 22 against a police special.
I'm live bait. You ought to see the gun Dodo has in the car.
You're gonna dry gulch him, huh?
He'll be watching me, and I'll be watching you. Let's see you beat that hand.
You're forgetting the books.
We're forgetting nothing. The books don't mean anything unless you put it together with what Hellman knows. Hellman and his stool pigeon. Stool's dead. And here comes Hellman. Adams thought of everything, including mirrors.
You thought of everything. Except a quarter.
What for?
To pay for the reload on that gun. Now, if these other guns are only loaded. Hi, you win a cigar, Hellman. You got her.
She'd have had me if you didn't spray the windshield. What was the deal?
While you were creeping up on Crowley, Dodo was going to pat you on the back.
Crowley? Where's Adams?
He quit the game. Crowley helped him.
Come on. Crowley's coming through.
Don't worry. He won't like these odds.
What odds?
38 to 22. It wasn't much of a trial. Crowley got the gas chamber. I got $10,000. The tax collector took half. Jocko got some, and there was even some left for me. Oh, yeah, Dodo was the one who killed Van Dyke. She and Crowley were sort of a team, but she was the contact and the real boss. Hellman never knew how I was so sure. I never told him I thought it was a man, too, till Jocko told me about the killer being tattooed. After that, it was easy. That negligee of Dodo's only left one thing to wonder about. That was how she kept warm.
And now, an important announcement for your listening pleasure. Next week, Pat Novak For Hire and all your KGO programs will come to you by the new power of 50,000 watts. Here's what that means for this program, for instance. Pat Novak will reach 1 million new listeners all the way from the state of Washington to the Mexican border. The new power and the new transmitter, the finest science can build or money can buy, will make KGO the most powerful station on the West Coast. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fatima Cigarettes is proud to bring you its prize-winning radio program, winner of the Motion Picture Herald Fame Award. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. You receive a complaint about an 8-year-old boy and his sister. A neighbor reports they've been going from door to door begging for food. Supposedly, the children are from well-to-do parents. Your job? Investigate.
You'll be amazed when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes.
You'll find they now cost the same. But in Fatima, the difference is quality.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
So compare Fatima yourself. Fatimas now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 27th. It was overcast in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Kinsling. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from communications. It was 4:38 p.m. when I got to 1335 Georgia Street, second floor, room 14.
Hi, Joe. Been waiting long? I was just checking with Regan.
No, I just got here.
What's this thing all about?
Well, just what I told you on the phone. 7-year-old boy and his sister covering the neighborhood begging food. You ready to go?
Yeah, let me put this away first. Kid's supposed to be from a wealthy family, huh?
Well, wealthy enough to live in the best part of Bel Air, yeah.
Doesn't make much sense. Must be some kind of a gag, huh?
No, not according to the neighbor who called in.
Yeah?
She says the kids are half-starved. Ben and I got in the car and drove out Sunset Boulevard to the Bel Air district. We pulled up in front of a large 2-story home near the corner of Brookline Avenue and Knightsbridge Drive. It was a white frame colonial mansion set back in the middle of well-landscaped lawns and gardens. The other homes in the neighborhood were just as large, $50,000 and up. It was the last place in the city that you'd expect to find neighborhood children begging food. 5:20 p.m. We went around to the rear entrance of the colonial mansion as we'd been instructed on the phone. We located the woman who'd called in the complaint, a Miss Jeanette Bejan.
She was employed as laundress and cook by the owners of the house. She was busy fixing dinner.
They're from next door, officer. The children. As I explained on the phone, a boy about 7 years, a girl 5 years old, I guess.
Which side do they live on, Miss Bejan? The house on the corner?
No, the other side. Up here. The brown and white house. Just up the street next door.
Mm-hmm. Are the children there now? Do you know that?
No, but they were here this afternoon again. Here to the back door asking for something to eat. I do not understand it. Something must be wrong.
Well, have they been around often, Miss Bejan?
2 or 3 days. Maybe 4 days. At first I thought they were fooling, but they were not. I gave them some cookies, sandwiches. They were very hungry. They ate them like they were starving. The little girl saved her cookies. She took them with her.
How about their parents? Are they at home?
Excuse me. What's that? There. That's better. No, I haven't seen the mother the last few days. I understand they are divorced. The mother, she lives there with the children. The father, I don't know.
Well, what's their name, do you know?
Kessler. Madame, the woman I work for. She says there are 3 children in the Kessler family. But I don't know. I have only seen the 2, the boy and the girl. I would go over and see what is wrong, but I do not know the Kessler. It is not my place. That's why I called you, officer.
All right, Miss Bejan. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, not at all, officer. You understand, I do not mind giving the children food. Well, I think only something is wrong if they do not get it at home.
Well, thank you very much for notifying us. We're going to check into it.
I'm just a little curious, Miss Bejan. What's that you're making?
This? Napoleon.
How's that?
Napoleon. You know, Napoleon pastry.
Oh, yeah. Sure smells good. Well, thanks again.
Oh, certainly, officer. If there is anything I can do, you will let me know?
Yes, ma'am, we will. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Those Swedish women make pretty good cooks, don't they?
I don't know. She sounded French to me.
Huh? Maybe so. Most good at cooking, anyhow.
Yeah, the brown and white house next door. That must be it, huh?
Well, that name, Kessler, they fairly prominent around town, society?
I don't know. There's quite a few of them. Could be. Any way you look at it, it's hard to figure, isn't it?
Kids have been at it for 4 days. If it's on the level, they really must be in a bind.
Garage door is open back there. No sign of a car.
Kids' bicycles, though.
Let's try the front door, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You better try it again, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
Hello, son. Your name's Kessler, is that right?
Yes, I'm Richard. My mother's not home right now. Maybe you can come back tomorrow.
Well, we're police officers, Richard. If you're not busy, we'd like to talk to you for a minute. Is that all right?
Yes, sir. That'd be all right. Would you come in, please?
Thank you. Richard Kessler was a blonde-haired, wiry boy, polite, well-mannered. He told us that he was 8 years old and that he attended the neighborhood grammar school. He showed us back to the kitchen where he was warming a can of soup that he borrowed from a neighbor. It was a large house, richly furnished, but it hadn't been cleaned for weeks. Dust was piled up thick on the furniture, and children's books and toys were scattered around the rooms along with scraps of dried bread, half-eaten. The house was cold and musty. On a small bar in the dining room, there were 3 half-filled cocktail glasses, a plate full of cigarette butts. Evidently, they'd been standing there for days. On the sink in the kitchen, there were a few pieces of stale bread and an open bottle of milk that had turned sour. Next to it were a half a dozen empty whiskey bottles. The Kessler boy was well-dressed, except for the shirt that he had on. It looked as if he'd been wearing it for a week.
What did you want to talk to me about, officer? I haven't done anything wrong.
Oh, we know that, son. We'd just like to find out how you've been getting along.
I've been getting along all right. 2 A's and 4 B's on my report card last month.
Mm-hmm. Where's your sister, Dick?
Judy, she's down the street. She'll be back in a minute.
How about your mother? Where's she?
She's out, too. She'll be back.
When do you expect her, son?
Pretty soon. She's coming back pretty soon.
And your sister, Judy, she's younger than you are, isn't she, Dick?
Yes. Judy's only 6. I'm 8.
Any other grown-ups live here with you besides your mother?
No. Mom takes care of us. She'll be back pretty soon.
We'd like to have you tell us the truth now, Dick. How long has she been gone?
I don't know. It's probably important. It's taken her a long time. If you can come back tomorrow, she'll probably be here then.
When was the last time you saw her, son? Son, how about that?
A couple of days ago.
Well, this is Tuesday. You mean she left the house Sunday?
No, before that. Last Friday night she went out. Said she'd be back. I don't know.
Did your mother say where she was going, Dick?
No, her boyfriend was here. Larry, I don't know his last name. Mom went out with him to a party, I think. I don't know where. She'll be back all right.
Did you leave anyone to take care of?
No, we can take care of ourselves. Nobody's fixed the cooking, though. I don't know how yet. I'd better look at the soup on the stove.
No, I'll take care of it, son. You go ahead. Sit down.
Has your mother ever left you like this before, son?
Maybe once or twice. She never stayed away this long, though. I don't know.
What's the matter, Dick?
Well, Johnny, officer, my little brother. He hasn't eaten much for a while. Must be hungry by now. I was fixing the soup for him.
Yeah, well, where's Johnny?
He's upstairs in the nursery. He's been sick with a bad cold. Mom knew Johnny was sick. That's why I wondered. She hasn't come back yet. I don't think Johnny's feeling good.
Do you want to take supper for him, son?
Yeah, all right, if you want.
Ben, you want to come on?
Yeah.
How long has Johnny had this cold, Dick?
Well, a couple of days before Friday, before Mom left.
Mm-hmm. How old is he?
Johnny's just a little kid. He won't be 2 years old until July. I've been wondering about him. Coughed a lot at first. Been giving him milk and cookies. That's what Judy and I had. I don't know.
Has the doctor been to see Johnny?
Oh, no, I saw her calling him. I didn't know the doctor's name. I was waiting until Mom got home. This is Johnny's room here.
Mm-hmm.
In the crib, officer. That's my brother Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cold in here.
Yeah, let's have a look. There, young fella.
Hi, Johnny. You hungry now?
Yo, look at his eyes.
Yeah, I want to get to a phone, doctor, and ambulance. Tell him to hurry.
What?
Oh, what's the matter, officer? What about Johnny's eyes?
You'll be all right, Dick.
Oh, he's been acting awful quiet, but hardly moved around at all. Most of the time he's jumping up and down his crib like anything.
Has anyone at all been in here to see him since Friday?
Yes, sir. My sister Judy and I. We changed his diapers and give him something to eat.
I see.
Gee, I sure wish Mom would get home. I'd like to talk to her.
Yeah, so would I. 5:48 p.m. We put in a call to the office for a policewoman. Then we got in touch with Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and he sent out a man to photograph the condition of the Kessler home and the children. The doctor and the ambulance arrived, and little Johnny Kessler was taken to the general hospital in critical condition. The 22-month-old boy was in a coma. Richard Kessler and his sister Judy were taken to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau and then transferred to Juvenile Hall and placed under protective custody, Section 700 Sub B, Welfare and Institution Code. The two of them were given a bath and something to eat. Judy Kessler was interrogated separately by a policewoman. Ben and I talked to the boy, Richard. After a few minutes, he broke down and admitted that his mother had gone off and left the three children alone on at least a half a dozen occasions. He told us his parents were divorced. He rarely saw his father, but his mother had had 2 or 3 boyfriends at the house during the past year. He also told us his mother drank quite a bit.
But she's never been gone this long before, Sergeant. Maybe she's out somewhere and has no way to get home.
We'll find her all right, son. Don't you worry about it.
Well, this boyfriend of your mother's, Dick, his first name was Larry. Is that all you can tell us?
Yes, sir. I don't know his last name. Are you going to keep us here all night, Judy and me?
Just for a day or so. They'll take good care of you, son.
Where'd you take Judy?
Well, she's just next door, Dick. You can see her in just a minute now.
And how about Johnny? I always take care of him. Pretty fussy around strangers.
Well, they've got him over at the hospital, Dick. They're going to take good care of him now. You can count on that.
I don't know, officer. I better see him. He might get awful fussy.
All right. We'll fix that up for you.
Do you have any relatives in Los Angeles, son? Aunts, uncles, anyone like that?
No, just my father, but I don't know where he lives. We had a nurse who used to take care of us, Mrs. McIntosh. She was swell. My mom fired her.
Oh, how'd that happen? Do you know?
No, I'm not quite sure. Maybe my mom was drinking. Mrs. McIntosh got mad at her. Had a big fight, and Mom fired her.
Oh, now, this Mrs. McIntosh, you know where we can find her?
No, sir, I don't.
How about some of the other boyfriends that your mother had, Dick? Do you remember any of their names?
No, one of them was George something. I don't remember the other one.
Joe, see you a minute?
Yeah, Mac. You want to stay with the boy, huh, Dad?
Yeah. Hospital call. A lot
lousy thing.
What's that?
The Kessler boy, little Johnny.
Yeah?
He just died.
John Albert Kessler, white male American, age 22 months. All the pertinent facts and data would be listed on the crime report. And if and when the case was closed, the report would be filed away. Wouldn't be any different from 1,000 other dead body reports. Same size, same color, same number up in the left-hand corner. In the course of 10 or 20 years on the job, a police officer sees a lot of them. Most of them you forget. A few of them you never forget. The next morning, the body was posted to the county morgue. It was found that the youngster had been suffering from malnutrition, but the cause of death was listed as a basal skull fracture. Homicide detail was notified. The search for the mother, Mrs. Jean Kessler, went on. We talked to her neighbors, all of her friends that we could locate. We checked out an address book that was found in Mrs. Kessler's effects at her home. We got out a broadcast and an APB. No luck. Thursday, April 29th.
How about the youngster's brother and sister, Ben? You think it could have happened that way?
How do you mean?
Well, we were taking care of the little fella. They might have had an accident with him. They're afraid to own up to it.
I don't think so, Joe. No, that's not very likely, Mac. We talked to him quite a bit last night. A couple of pretty honest kids. Pretty sure that they wouldn't lie about something like that.
Where does that leave it, the mother?
Good possibility. We know Mrs. Kessler drinks quite a bit. She could have lost patience with a little boy. More chance of an accident there. I get it. Funeral Friday. Yeah, Bert. Where's that? Right, thanks. Yeah? Woman answering Miss Kessler's description checked into the hotel down on South Hope last night. Still registered? Well, she checked out early this morning. They found a woman's sport coat in the room. What about it? Blood stains on it.
You are listening to Dragnet for the step-by-step solution to tonight's authentic case history. Here, step-by-step, are the actual reasons why Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette. Why in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality of tobaccos. The finest domestic and Turkish varieties. Extra mild and superbly blended to give you a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Quality of manufacture. Smooth, round, perfect cigarettes. Rolled in the finest paper money can buy. Manufactured in the newest and most modern of all cigarette factories. Quality even to the appearance of the bright, clean, golden yellow package. Carefully wrapped and sealed to bring you Fatima's rich, fresh, extra mild flavor. Compare Fatima yourself. Fatima's now cost the same as other long cigarettes, but your first puff will tell you...
Ah, that's different.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima quality yourself. Insist on Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Friday, April 30th. We were still without a lead as to the whereabouts of the missing mother, Mrs. Jean Kessler. The blood-stained coat, which had been found in the South Hope Street Hotel, was shown to Mrs. Kessler's friends and to her children, Richard and Judy. They identified it as belonging to the missing woman. Routine investigation of the hotel room failed to uncover any further leads. We got out a supplementary APB, and then we started rechecking with the Kessler woman's friends and acquaintances. Nothing. We rechecked a dozen taverns and cocktail lounges that she'd been known to frequent. No sign of her, no sign of her boyfriend. In rechecking her personal effects, we found a canceled check payable to their former nurse, Mrs. McIntyre. The endorsement carried her address. We checked it out. She'd moved. We traced it to the forwarding address. There we were told that she had a new job as a nursemaid with a wealthy family living in the Los Feliz district. We called there and talked to Mrs. McIntyre, and she told us that she was just leaving the house with the 3 children for an outing at the park and the zoo. We made arrangements to meet with her out there, 1:30 p.m. Ben and I located her at the head of the path leading through the main part of the Griffith Park Zoo.
I read about it in the paper, Sergeant, about Johnny. I didn't know you wanted to talk to me. I would have called in if I did.
We're still trying to locate the mother, Mrs. McIntosh. Can you help us out there, though?
No, I don't know. Have you asked at those places she used to go to all the time, where she used to drink?
Yes, ma'am, we have. They couldn't help us. Did you know any of Miss Kessler's boyfriends, the ones that had come to the house?
Yes, I knew all of them. Donald, don't you wander off now. Same for you, Patsy. You stay close.
The boy, Richard, he was telling us about one of the boyfriends, ma'am. A fellow named Larry.
Oh, yes. Donald, you heard what I said. You stay close. Yes, I knew Larry.
You remember what his last name was now?
Yes, Bartell. Some kind of an actor in the movies, I think.
Bartell. You know where he lives?
No, I think he had an apartment in Hollywood. I wouldn't know the address.
What kind of a man was this Bartell? I mean his temperament and things like that.
Well, I think he was kind of lazy. I think Mrs. Kessler was giving him money.
Mm-hmm. Did the two of them ever argue or have any fights?
All the time. He had a terrible temper.
Did he ever strike Miss Kessler?
Yes, I saw it happen several times. Not too close to the cage, Donald. Back a little.
How did this Bartell act toward the children, Mrs. McIntyre?
Different, I guess. They annoyed him sometimes.
Well, that was after that you had the argument with Miss Kessler?
Yes. It was about her drinking and the boyfriend and all the rest. I just got sick of it, and I told her what I thought. She didn't want to admit she was getting old, not caring for the children, pretending she was still in her 20s.
Well, do you have any idea where we might locate the father?
Well, they're divorced, you know. He's the head salesman for a lumber concern downtown. He inherited most of his money. I have the name of the company at home. You can have it if you like.
Yes, ma'am. We'd appreciate that.
You know, it's the children I feel sorry for.
Yes, ma'am.
3 beautiful children. And that poor little Johnny, I just can't understand it.
What's that?
How could anyone desert a helpless baby like that?
We'll ask his mother. Friday, 5 p.m. Mrs. McIntyre called us at the office and gave us the business address of the missing woman's ex-husband, Richard Lane Kessler. We called there, but they told us Kessler was away on a week's vacation. They had no idea where to contact him, but he was expected back in a few days. We called Central Casting and asked them to check their talent list for a bit player by the name of Larry Bartell. They had no such name listed. Saturday, 8 a.m. The Kessler children, Richard and Judy, remained in the custody of juvenile authorities. The search for their mother continued. All day Saturday, Ben and I ran down what few leads we had. They went nowhere. Checks to the morgue, the city hospitals, and the drunk tank at the main jail still failed to turn up the missing woman. We checked again at the different drinking places she used to patronize. No one had seen her. 5:30 p.m., we went back to the office.
A lot of mileage today.
Yeah, there's not much to show for it.
Not going to be much fun for those Kessler kids this Sunday.
Why? What do you mean?
First Sunday in May.
Huh?
Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, Mac.
Hi. Got a piece of news for you.
Yep.
The Kessler woman's boyfriend, Larry Bartell.
What about him?
He's been located.
When he'd seen his name mentioned the previous night in the newspaper stories concerning the case, Larry Bartell had contacted the office to let us know that he didn't consider himself a fugitive. At least that was his story. He called just a few minutes before we got back to the office. He left word that he could be found at a Wilshire address all day Sunday. In the meantime, he'd be at the Spotlight Club, the club for theatrical people located in West Hollywood. 6:25 p.m. Ben and I located him at the club back in the billiards room. He was tall, dark-haired, dressed expensively.
I told the cop when I called in, you weren't supposed to contact me here. It was important.
That little Kessler boy's dead, Bartell. We think that's pretty important.
Well, I didn't know anything about that. You didn't have to interrupt me. That's an important man I was playing with. Now, what do you want to know?
Where's Miss Kessler?
Well, why ask me? I don't know.
You're a pretty good friend of hers. You were the last person seen with her.
Oh, it was a week ago. We went out to a party last Friday night. I haven't seen her since the following Monday. Last Monday. I'm through with her anyway.
What do you mean?
I just got sick of her, that's all. Pawing all over me, asking me to marry her. I just got sick of it. It wasn't worth it.
You accepted money from her?
Just to tide me over. She had plenty of it. Why not?
Where'd you last see her?
Keep your voices down. I wouldn't like this stuff to get around the club. Yeah. There's a hotel downtown on South Flower. I can pretty get it.
Were you at another hotel with Miss Kessler last week?
Yeah, on South Hope, around 9th Street, I think. Oh, that's where you found a coat, huh?
You got an explanation for that?
Blood stain? Sure. Crazy Jane. So I threw her, then she tried to hit me with a bottle. Cut herself. Boy, I tell you, this wasn't worth it, that's all.
I guess you can prove everything you're telling us, huh?
Of course I can prove it. It's the truth.
And what about the little boy? How'd that happen?
I didn't have anything to do with it. It wasn't my fault.
Well, how'd it happen?
Well, it was that Friday night just before we left the house. The old lady and I were downstairs having a few drinks. She put the little kid to bed. He wouldn't stay there. He just getting up out of bed and running downstairs crying.
Yeah, go on.
She finally took the kid, gave him a good spanking, threw him back in bed. I think he hit his head in one of the posts of the creek.
Why didn't she do something about it?
Well, I told her, but she said it was nothing. Didn't matter. Got a coat smart, that's all. Kids are all right when we left.
You mean all the times you and Mrs. Kessler went out, you knew those children were being left all alone in that house?
Oh, what out of she's the mother, not me. Oh, look, I gotta get back. I kept that game waiting on.
No, just a minute. It's going to wait a little longer. Come on. Larry Bartell was taken downtown and held for questioning on suspicion of 702 WIC, contributing to negligence of minors. He gave us the address of the hotel where he'd last seen Mrs. Kessler. Ben and I checked it out. It was a typical cheap downtown hotel with a bar opening off the lobby. The desk clerk told us a woman answering Mrs. Kessler's description was registered in a room on the second floor. They had an old-fashioned player piano going full volume in the bar. The sound followed us up the stairs.
Tenants here sure must like their music.
Yeah. That's it there, isn't it? 215?
Yeah.
You better try it.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Who's there? Who is it?
You, Mrs. Jean Kessler?
What is it? Who are you?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to you.
I haven't done anything. What do you want with me?
I want to talk to you about your children, Mrs. Kessler.
But I didn't do anything. Johnny was sick, that's all. I didn't do anything.
That's not what Bartell said.
Larry, have you seen him? Is he coming back to me?
You better get up, lady. Get your coat.
I gotta have Larry back. He's everything to me. I love him. Is he coming back?
You've been gone over a week. Aren't you a little worried about your children?
They're all right. I'm too young to spend my life on children. I need Larry. Where is he?
See if you can find a coat, will you, Ben?
Yeah, all right.
I've been drinking milk, sis. I felt terrible.
Yeah.
I need Larry so bad. He's young like me. I love him. I gave him all my love. Gave him every bit of it.
Yeah, you gave them too much.
What?
You didn't have any left for your kids.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thanks, sir. Friends, if you're with us week to week, you've heard me say, in Fatima, the difference is quality. It's a difference that you can prove just by buying a pack and smoking them. You'll find Fatima's extra mild, with a rich, better flavor and aroma. Stop in at the store in the corner and buy a pack of Fatimas the first chance you get. You'll find in Fatimas, the difference is quality. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you for your very fine response to our program, Dragnet. Since the first show went on the air about a year and a half ago, your cards and letters have been a constant source of encouragement and guidance. In the field of radio presentations, we felt that we were attempting something a little different, and we were not altogether sure that it would meet with your approval. Possibly, we were sure that our approach to this type of presentation was a sound one, but the final approval had to rest with you. If we may judge by your response, you've placed Dragnet high among the programs that you enjoy most, and for this we're indeed grateful. We've tried to bring you, first of all, an adult program, worthy of the 30 minutes that you spend with us each week. We've tried to bring you an honest and authoritative report on the work of your police force. We've tried to bring before you documented police cases that were informative as well as entertaining. In forthcoming weeks, we sincerely hope that Dragnet remains one of your favorite shows. Your letters have been read by all members of the Dragnet production staff. So if you like to listen to Dragnet, it's because you, our listeners, have helped to guide us in presenting the kind of entertainment that you want. And for this, our thanks.
Mrs. Jean Kessler was filed on and found guilty in Superior Court, charge of manslaughter. She was sentenced to 1 year in the county jail and deprived of the custody of her children. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portions transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now stay tuned for Counter Spy. Then it's Screen Directors Playhouse on
The world he goes around in. It's about the big music, and the big trouble, and the big 20s. So when they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Pete Kelly's Blues. Starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Kepner.
My name's Pete Kelly. I play cornet. You'll find us at 417 Cherry Street, Kansas City. It's a standard speakeasy. The whiskey matches the color of your money. It's a fairly quiet crib. Never any real serious trouble. The competing torpedoes in town regard it as a sort of a neutral zone, a place to meet and maybe talk things over before going to the gun. The Switzerland of Kansas City. The lease is owned by George Lupo. He's a fat, friendly little guy who has only two things in his life, dollars and cents. We start grinding every night at about 10, and we play till the cash register tape gives out. But that's all right with us. He lets us play the kind of music we like and pays off with a smile. Sometimes we even manage to get a few bucks. Well, last night we were dragging through the lull hour of the first set when the distinguished old guy came in. I'd seen him in the place many times before, always with the Dutchman and two or three of the Dutchman's guns. He'd sit at their table, letting their whispers float around his gray hair, never taking part, just sit quiet, gaining slowly on the open bottle in front of him, staring at a point that probably didn't exist. This was the first time I'd seen him without the Dutchman. He started to sit at the usual place, hesitated, looked around the half-filled room, took the small table in the corner near the bar. He smiled up at me as he poured his first drink. There was nobody behind it. We went into the wind-up.
Man, we sure drag heel tonight. What's up next, Pete?
Nothing. My lips raw. Let's get off for a while.
You're burning that lip at both ends, Petey. Slow down.
You want a beer at the bar, Red?
No, thanks, Petey. I'll catch me a hunk of fresh air in the alley.
All right. On your way out, throw some nickels in the pianola, will you?
Right. See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah? Forgive me. I spoke quite on impulse. I find myself the sudden victim of an overwhelming desire for companionship.
Yeah. I see you're alone tonight.
I'm alone every night. Please sit down, if only for a minute.
All right.
Thank you. What will you drink?
A little of that ginger ale will do fine. You expecting your friends?
That's the one thing I can count on tonight, the arrival of my friends. I should like to compliment you, Mr. Kelly.
On what?
Your music. I must confess I don't really understand it, but I do understand and recognize one thing, faith. You play your cornet as though you believe in it.
Thanks.
That is a priceless thing, Mr. Kelly. Faith and a belief in something. Never lose it, sir. Because when you do, you're lost yourself.
Yeah. Well,
No, please. Just sit another small minute.
All right.
I lied to you, Mr. Kelly. I told you I wanted companionship. No. What I really want is an audience. There are so many things I want to say and so little time left in which to say.
Sounds like you're about to get married. Have another drink, huh?
You think I'm drunk, don't you? Well, you're right. I am. But not on whiskey.
Yeah. You're scared, aren't you? Is that it?
Yeah. Feel my heart. Expending enough energy to power a modest side dam.
What are you afraid of?
All evening I've been asking myself that same question. What am I afraid of? Surely it can't be the loss of life. And yet...
You're sick?
With a disease for which neither man nor magician has yet been able to effect a cure. The wrath of a killer.
You're a target. Is that it?
I, as you so graphically put it, am a target.
The Dutchman?
The Dutchman.
Look, I don't make this. Right now, you should be 2 yards the other side of Baffin Bay.
The streets are lined with the Dutchman's gun.
But you gotta make a pass at it. You can't just say, okay, here's my head with a 50-cent cigar in it. Don't you want to live?
I thought not. My adrenals refuse to concur.
Look, isn't there somebody to help get you out of town? A friend?
I have no friend, except the Dutchman.
The law? Yeah. Now, look, I gotta get back up there. Take this key. Hotel George, around the corner. Go up to my room. There's no reason for him to look for you up there. We'll think of something.
Do you think so? Do you really think so?
Now, look, we're gonna try. If we can't, we'll need 2 50-cent cigars. Now, go on.
P?
Yeah, Red.
What's the matter with the senator?
Nothing 1,000 miles won't cure. All right. Let's do goose pimples. All right, everybody ready? I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. Red, take over. I'm going to duck out for a while.
What's wrong, Petey?
My lip. It's starting to limp.
Uh-oh. Here comes trouble.
Mr. Kelly? Which Mr. Kelly?
How many Mr. Kellys you got in this crib?
Never mind, Jamie. I'm ready.
You asked the punk nice, is he, Mr. Kelly, so he gives you with a snotty which Mr. Kelly?
All right, Jamie.
Please forgive Jamie. He hasn't had much sleep lately.
Yeah, well, you wake him up and tell him there's another Kelly. Bob Kelly works downstairs in the plant. Maybe he's the boy you want.
No, we're looking for Pete Kelly.
Yeah?
Yes, Pete Kelly.
Oh, not Bob Kelly.
Not Bob Kelly, Pete Kelly.
Yeah. Well, I'm Pete Kelly.
I'm Pete Kelly.
We'd like to talk to you for a minute.
Sure.
Outside?
Outside?
Just in the alley. Private.
Yeah, well, I'd like to oblige you, but you see, friend, I got a job to do here.
Outside.
All right, Jimmy. Mr. Kelly understands.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Red.
Yeah.
Smoke, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. You like my brand?
Your brand?
Gold tip. You like it?
Yeah, sure. I never smoked anything else.
There was an elderly gentleman inside this evening. He also smokes some. Did you smoke one of his?
Elderly gentleman?
Yes, about 55, my height, gray hair, blue eyes. He sat at your table. You had a nice drink with him. You smoked a cigarette of his.
Sorry, I haven't seen anybody all night.
All right, Terry, let's get to it. Stop with the circle talk.
Easy.
We got the rumble you was talking to.
Well, you're wrong.
Well, you...
All right.
Go on me.
That's enough.
Yeah, all right. Now, you listen, Junior. The next time you put your hands on me, you walk away without them.
You deserve that, Jamie. You have to learn when to and when not to. Jamie's young, Mr. Kelly. He thinks he has to make his reputation in one night.
Can he be friendly? Can he be nice? Can he be honest? Why can't he tell us the truth and let us go about our business?
That's fair enough. Isn't that fair enough, Mr. Kelly? Isn't Jamie right this time?
Yeah, sure.
Seems to me he's being fair. Seems to me he's right this time.
I'm always fair. I just ask for cooperation.
That's it. That's all. That's all we ask. Just cooperation. And, mister, you're going to cooperate. Army surplus, mister. This gun's been to France and back.
What do you want?
Small hunk of truth. You sat and talked to this gentleman?
You see? He ain't going to cooperate.
Yeah, I talked to him.
What about?
This and that.
What's this and what's that?
Music.
What else?
Horses.
What else?
Women.
What else?
That's all.
You're lying.
Terry says you're lying. He knows it's his business to know.
Music, yes. Horses and women, no, not him. You're lying.
He was drunk.
How drunk?
Drunk enough to talk about horses and women?
What's his name?
He didn't say.
Where's he now?
I don't know.
You saw him go?
I left him at the table.
All right.
That's it, Terry?
For now. Mr. Kelly says he doesn't know where he is. Maybe he's telling the truth.
You got it all.
But if you're lying, Jamie's going to come back and see you alone.
Well, I didn't need Einstein to figure it out for me. They were a couple of the Dutchman's guns. Assignment, rub out of one old party. Method, burn down anybody in the way. And from here on in, they'd cuddle closer to me than a baby kangaroo to its mother. Well, I had to get that old party out of my room fast. I told Red to keep the boys working, and I went on the prowl for Barney Ricketts. Barney's an ex-bootlegger. He went broke in 1922. Nobody's been able to figure out how a bootlegger could go broke in 1922, and Barney refuses to tell the secret of his failure. He did it the hard way, and he isn't going to make it easy for anybody else. He wasn't at Sour Sammy's joint. He hadn't shown at Papa Pastor's, and I was starting to worry when I caught up with him at Joe Donegan's over on 12th Street. As usual, he was boiled and loud.
Ah, Pete Kelly, the Kansas City Gabriel.
Listen, Barney, I need a favor.
Without evasion, Petey, I tell you right out that your arrival is ill-timed.
A major league favor.
I was just about to pour a potion, and now I'm forced to ask you to share it with me.
No, Barney, look, there's no time.
That's your trouble, Petey. No true understanding of the meaning of time. Do you know what time in the life of one man really is? I mean, the nature of it and its function.
Yeah, I know all about it. Now, listen, Barney.
Of course you don't, and it isn't many men who will so frankly confess their ignorance. That's what I admire most about you, Petey. Your honesty in admitting to your abundant ignorance.
All right, Barney.
No, you mustn't be disheartened. The very fact that you know that you don't know is a hopeful sign. It means that you are ready to learn, and I will be your guide, counselor, and teacher.
Yeah.
Now then, take time.
All right.
And to properly understand the true nature of time, you must take time to understand it. Regard time as a valise. To each man at birth, such a valise is given, some large, some small, according to his destiny. That is the one thing which he cannot really choose, the size of the valise which we call time.
You all through now?
Yes, what are we going to put into your valise this time?
Maybe a hunk of hope for a guy who needs it.
What's his problem?
He was sitting in 417. I talked to him.
A mobster?
No, educated, cultured, gentle.
I see, a dangerous man.
No, he was lost, Barney, lost and frightened. The kind of fright that freezes you when you're on the other side of a gun.
I see. Who fingered him?
The Dutchman.
The Dutchman?
That's right.
Tell me, is he about 55, gray-haired, blue eyes?
That's right.
And you don't know who he is?
No, he didn't say.
Well, Peter, you're right and you're wrong. He's educated, cultured, gentle. But you're wrong about helping him. Nothing you or anyone else can do can stretch his valise.
Why not?
Because the Dutchman says no, that's all.
Well, who is he?
Dr. Jonathan Budd, an excellent surgeon and general practitioner.
But what's he got to do with the Dutchman?
For the last 2 years, he's been under exclusive contract to the Dutchman, sort of company medic for the Dutchman's torpedoes. On call 24 hours a day. Remove an appendix or a bullet as the circumstances may require.
I don't make it, Barney. A man like that. Why would the Dutchman want to send him over?
I don't know, Petey, and I don't want to know. Go back to Lupo's, pick up your horn, and forget all about Dr. Bud.
I can't do it.
Heed me, Petey. The Dutchman says drop dead, he'll drop dead. Don't be near him when he falls. Don't get into this, Petey.
I'm already in, Barney. I sent him up to my room.
You didn't.
He's there now, waiting for me.
Get him out of there.
I had to help him, Barney. You can't just stand by and send him into the street to be cut down. A man has to have somebody to worry about him, somebody to help him.
Get him out of there.
I can't.
Why not?
I'm being watched.
By the gun?
Yeah.
You sure?
They got the buzz I was sitting with him. They're keeping a string on me.
Petey, you fool. How long do you think it'll be before they get into your room?
That's why I came to you, Barney.
No, Pete, not this time. Not where the Dutchman...
Look, they're on my back, Barney. I'll draw the guns off. Back to Lupo's. You get him out, Barney. You can do it.
And what do I do with him once I got him? Ask him what he'll charge to cut you out of my life?
Take him to the other side of the river, over to Fat Annie's. Tell Maggie Jackson. She can fold him into the shed out back. He'll be safe there.
Fine. He can make a new life for himself in Fat Annie's shed.
I'll think of something. I'll shake the guns after I get back to 417, and I'll think of something.
You do that, Petey, because if you don't, you'll be dragging up full release before morning.
Well, I scuttled back through the streets, back to 417 Cherry. The guns were right behind me. My valise was getting fuller and heavier by the minute, and I knew I'd added a few pounds to Barney's. But that's the way it is. The guy drifts into your life, holds out a finger for help, and you take hold, and you're near to drifting out of it with him. But what can you do? You gotta take hold, or you don't sleep so good anymore. Well, Lupo glared at me with his "what am I paying you for" glare as I ducked into the joint. I started for the bandstand, and I didn't get past the bar.
Mr. Kelly?
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you.
Yeah?
Could I talk to you?
Oh, go ahead. I'm listening.
Someplace alone?
What about?
It's about my name's Mary Budd.
Oh, come on, behind the bandstand.
Thank you.
Let's go, Petey. Lupo's just docked us another fish.
I'll be right with you, Red.
Yeah.
All right.
I was told you saw
Saw who?
my father,
Lots of fathers come in here. Who's yours?
Dr. Budd. Dr. Jonathan Budd.
You drive a car?
Yes.
Your license with you?
Yes.
Let me see it. Thanks. All right. Now pay attention. Your father's in trouble. The big trouble.
Why? What's happened?
The Dutchman took a dislike to him.
Who's the Dutchman?
You don't know?
My father never told me anything.
Well, you're a big girl now. The Dutchman's a man with a gun. He's pointing it at your father. All right, now hold on. Maybe we can...
Why would anybody want to kill my father?
I don't know.
He's never hurt anybody in his life. Why would this man
Look, lady, I got no answers for
Maybe
you.
if we could find out why... Maybe we could... Are you sure you have no idea?
All I know is the Dutchman said drop dead. There's no court of appeals for that.
Yes. I understand now.
But we still got a chance. It's skinny, but it's there.
Where's my father now?
He's being taken across the river. Fat Annie's place. Boulder Road. Is your car out front?
No, I left it downtown.
Good. Go get it. Make sure you're not tailed. Go to Fat Annie's. See Maggie Jackson. I'll try to shake the Dutchman's guns after the next number. But if I can't get over to Fat Annie's, you collect your father out of that shed and back, hit the highway north on the Kansas side. Now, you got it?
I'll never forget you for this, Mr. Kelly.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's settle down. Settle down, huh? What's up?
Newlyweds in from St. Joe been asking for a cornet solo for an hour.
All right, what do you think?
Well, how about Pigeon Toed Jode?
Oh, my lip and you asked for that? All right.
All right, Pigeon Toed Jode. You got it?
All right. I'll give you the pickup. Well, that's all for me tonight, Red.
Let me see that. Huh? Yeah, you ain't fooling. Your lip's bleeding.
We'll do the next set without me, huh?
Oh, man, that Lupo, he's sure making the deducts tonight.
Where's the Erskine parked, Red?
Around on 10th Street. You better put the top up. Looks like rain.
Yeah, all right.
How long you gonna be gone?
Huh?
I said, how long you gonna be gone?
Depends on how much room is left in my valise. Well, I left the stand and headed for the men's room just like nothing was happening. I bolted the door behind me, crawled out through the small window, dropped into the alley, and lit out for 10th Street over fences and through backyards. Red's Erskine was right where it ought to be. I slammed over to 12th, rattled across the bridge, jolted down Boulder Road to Fat Annie's place. Halfway there, it started to rain. Inside Fat Annie's, business was slow. There was nobody there. Maggie Jackson was making for her piano when I got inside.
Hi, Pete. I'm glad you got here. We got a tenant in shed out back.
Yeah?
Yeah, with a short-term lease. Just a minute, Pete. All right, Ray. I ain't going nowhere, ain't seeing no one, no how, 'cause love and I are parting, starting now. I'm on good behavior, so honey savior, hello. In answer to your passes, the last says no. I've been somewhere, seeing someone most every day of my sad life. I'm gonna trade in my mad life for something slow and safe, and so I ain't going nowhere, ain't gonna wrinkle my brow, 'cause love and I are parting, starting now. That was nice, Ray. Place is really good tonight.
Yeah, business is bad all over. Look, Maggie, how about the guy in the shed? Is he all right?
He ain't bleeding none yet.
Where's Barney?
He just dropped the package like it was hot chitlins and dusted.
The girl get here yet?
What girl's that?
The tenant's daughter.
No girl showed yet, Pete.
Well, the minute she shows, Maggie, send her outside, will you?
You going to the shed, Pete?
Yeah.
Best to go through the kitchen, straight out the back.
Sure. Thanks, Maggie.
Sure. Good luck.
Doc, it's Kelly. Pete Kelly, Doc.
Come in.
You all right, Doc?
Yes. The roof leaks and I've run out of cigarettes.
Sure. Here.
Oh, thank you.
I'll give you a light.
That's good.
Yeah, now, look, I think we're home safe. I'm getting you out of here.
Tell me, why do you bother?
What?
I said, why do you bother?
Look, Doc, don't confuse me.
You're an anachronism, Mr. Kelly. A moral man in the immoral jungle.
Now, look, I talked to your daughter. She'll be here soon.
You talked to my daughter?
Yeah, that's right. She's coming to pick you up.
Small girl, red hair, blue eyes?
Yeah.
Mr. Kelly, I have no daughter.
You don't?
You talked to the Dutchman Smile.
Yeah, but the license, her driving license. She showed me her driving license.
Sure she did.
I believed her.
Yes, an excellent actress. And you told her where I am. Did she ask you anything else? What you might know about the Dutchman and me?
Well, she asked. I knew nothing.
You're sure? You're sure you told her you know absolutely nothing?
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're safe. You'll be all right. They'll forgive you for trying to help me. You finally did tell them where to find me, and for that, they forgive you.
All right, come on. Now, let's get out of here. Let's get
No,
going.
Mr. Kelly, you'd better go quickly.
Well, I got a car. We'll make a run for it.
No.
But they'll be here any minute.
And I'll be waiting for them. No use to run anymore.
Yeah.
In some strange way, I've begun to realize that I'll welcome their arrival. But I don't want to escape. You see, it's impossible for a man to escape from himself. I am nothing more than the works I have done. It is those works which decide the ultimate fate of a man. Mine, and rightly so, are about to kill me. No, we cannot escape from what we have made of ourselves.
Yeah, but look, you can start all over again. There have been others like this before. They ran, took the chance, and ran.
Strange. Things taught me in my youth. Things unremembered for years. My freshman days at school. and the words of Socrates when Crito urged him to delay the drinking of the hemlock as others before him had delayed. Yes, Crito, and they of whom you speak are right in so acting, for they think that they will be gainers by the delay. But I am right in not following their example, for I do not think that I should gain anything by drinking the poison a little later. I should only be ridiculous in my own eyes for sparing and saving a life which is already forfeit. Please, then, to do as I say, and not to refuse me. And so, I ask you, Mr. Kelly, don't refuse me. Go now, please, for your sake. I'm all right.
You're not all right. They're going to kill you. Don't you understand that?
I understand.
Yeah. Sure you do. There's nothing more I can do?
Nothing. Except perhaps a cigarette.
Sure. Take the pack.
No. 2 will do.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Kelly.
Goodbye, Doc.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Please leave the door open.
Yeah.
Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Joe Eisinger and music by Dick Cathcart, scoring by Matty Matlock. The music of Pete Kelly's Big Seven and Maggie Jackson is now available on phonograph record.
The proceeding was transcribed. Now join the Great Gildersleeve on NBC.